Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Gaowu, Complete Martial Arts Attributes. Chapter 21. I'm so honest, so cooperative, so cute. Why are they still killing me? Wang Tang didn't understand. Mom was right, a handsome and cute rich second generation like him must protect himself outside. The outside world is too dangerous. If you are not careful, your life will be in danger. He walked towards the leading robber step by step, trembling all over. If you kill them, you must kill them, they are all vicious villains. Step, 2 steps, getting closer, the other hostages cast pitying glances. Although they were sympathetic, there was still a trace of rejoicing in their eyes, rejoicing that they were not the ones who died first. They were also shaking. Such a cute boy, the group of robbers will not let go, it is so cruel, why didn't the police helicopter come? If you don't come again, they will be the ones who will die later. Kill them all. Kill them all. Wang Tang's mentality collapsed. He is very nervous now, his palms, back, and forehead are all sweaty. There is no other way but to kill them. 3 steps, 4 steps. Soon he was less than half a meter away from the leading robber. Hurry up. Get over here. The lead robber yelled impatiently. Enough. Close enough. Can't wait any longer. Wang Tang raised his head suddenly, his eyes were bloodshot. Why are you forcing me? Quote. The lead robber thought that Wang Tang was probably frightened, and he was already a little incoherent. But the next moment, the robbers and the hostages all stared wide-eyed. The lead robber looked like he had seen a ghost. What did he see? The hostage, who was obviously like a little sheep, just now suddenly turned into an angry and crazy bear. The atmosphere changed in an instant. All this seems to be slow but fast. The moment Wang Tang raised his head, he didn't hesitate at all, his heart was as firm as iron, and he stomped heavily. Boom! The tiled floor crumbled, sending stones flying everywhere. The strength under his feet rose, and Wang Tang was suddenly pushed out. Wang Tang was like a crossbow shot, and he rushed to the leading robber in an instant. Extreme speed, fine-grained agility, full-scale explosion. It takes less than a second to cross the distance of less than half a meter. The lead robber could see it, but couldn't follow. Wang Tang's fist was like a hammer, he raised it high and smashed it down, and his fist continued to enlarge under the opponent's horrified gaze. Grass. As soon as he uttered the second half of the word, Wang Tang hit him on the head with all his strength. Boom! How terrifying is the force of more than 1,000 kilograms. Probably like a big truck running over the head. Snapped. The sound is clear and crisp, a big watermelon is broken like this. First blood. Broken. Wang Tang didn't feel the slightest bit at this time, his mind was full of death crisis, now he killed one, and there are 4 left. They have guns, it's scary. It must be done quickly. So he didn't pause at all. He grabbed the lead robber's body and smashed it at the scar-faced robber behind him. Wang Tang bullied himself. At this moment, his head was running at high speed, and the basic combat skills he had mastered seemed to be melted into one furnace. The body method is integrated into the speed. Swordsmanship, integrated into boxing. With no weapons in his hands, his fists are swords and his legs are knives. The body of the leading robber hit Scarface, catching him off guard. Wang Tang swept across from the left with his foot like a knife. Click. The sound of bones breaking came out clearly. Boom. He flew sideways, hit the wall, vomited blood, tilted his head, and lost consciousness. Double kill. Snapped. The other 3 robbers looked terrified, but they finally came to their senses and shot Wang Tang one after another. The bullets poured out under the influence of the rune, faster and more powerful. Call out. The bullet seemed to tear the air, and with a piercing sound, it pointed directly at the vital points of Wang Tang's body. Head, heart, thighs. Wang Tang had been on guard for a long time, he fixed the scarred face with one blow, and shrank his body. A perfect donkey roll. Hide under the workbench. Boom. The bullet hit the wall, directly blasting a big hole in the wall. Wang Tang glanced at it with lingering fear. Fortunately, I didn't resist rashly before. This kind of power is definitely a blood hole in the body, even the physique of a high-level warrior can't bear it. The thought just turned around. He immediately grabbed a chair in front of him and threw it out, while he jumped out from the other side. The 3 robbers were tense. Seeing something flying out, they subconsciously fired several shots at it. Not good, but as soon as the gun is fired, they know something bad is going on. Wang Tang didn't give them time to regret. He came from the other side, punched a robber in the temple. The robber shook his body and fell to the ground with a plop. Triple kill. Get one again. Then turned to a robber 2 meters away from him. Wang Tang remembered the other party. He was the first one who said he wanted to kill himself. Therefore, he struck harder, clasped his hands together, and slammed down like a heavy hammer, sending the robber flying 3 meters away. Quadra kill. Snapped. Snapped. The last robber was the one who drove the car earlier. Seeing that Wang Tang was so ferocious at this time, several of his companions died and were seriously injured after only a few moves by Wang Tang. He was so scared that he couldn't help backing up, and hastily fired several shots at Wang Tang. Wang Tang's figure flashed, he came to his side, and punched, which was the simplest stabbing sword in the basic swordsmanship. One move, another move, the robber fell. Pentakill. None of the 5 robbers was spared. From Wang Tang's sudden violent attack to the end of the battle, it took less than a minute. Those hostages were stunned. He opened his mouth wide, but no sound came out. The injured middle-aged woman also seemed to have temporarily forgotten the pain, and looked at him blankly. You are also a hostage, why are you so good? So fierce. We agreed to tremble together, but you beat the robbers to death. You must be a devil, right? Hoo. All 5 robbers fell down, and Wang Tang's tense spirit relaxed, panting heavily. Tired. A tiredness welled up in his body. Although the battle lasted only a few tens of seconds, just now under the crisis of life and death, his spirit was tense, adrenaline was secreted rapidly, and his body functions were running at high speed, which consumed a lot of his spirit and body. Why are you forcing me? Wang Tang muttered to himself, his eyes swept across the room, and his face suddenly turned pale. The horror of the gangsters made his stomach twitch, and bursts of stomach acid seemed to gush out of his throat. He quickly turned his head away, just in time to meet the eyes of those hostages. These people were terrified, and their faces were also pale. Some even hid in the corner and vomited. They looked at Wang Tang with weird eyes, not at all like looking at a pure high school student. Instead, it's like watching a perverted killer. I said I am a good person, do you believe me? Wang Tang asked sincerely. Several hostages subconsciously shook their heads together, but immediately reacted and nodded desperately. It's just that the guilty expression is not convincing at all. Wang Tang came out of the police station at 8 o'clock in the evening and soon 9 o'clock. Before that, he called home and told his parents that he had made an appointment with his classmates to go out for dinner in the evening. In fact, he was taken to the police station and a statement was made. Fortunately, Wang Tang was the victim, and the police released him after learning what had happened. Criminal Police Captain Yang Junchao personally took Wang Tang to the door and handed him a cigarette. Do you smoke? Wang Tang was also polite, took it and put it in his mouth. The two lit up cigarettes and began to puff at the gate of the police station. I learned to smoke at a young age. Yang Junchao joked with a smile. Don't mention it. Wang Tang sighed and shook his head. Yang Junchao didn't get entangled, and said seriously, those robbers fled to Donghai City from other cities. They have committed many serious crimes before, and they are all wanted. You should also be able to see that they are all vicious people, and each of them has several lives on their hands. When you get rid of them, you're doing harm for the people, so don't put too much pressure on them. Wang Tang felt better immediately. Sure enough, they are all bad people. If I hadn't been forced to do nothing, how could I, a good student with all-round development of morality, intelligence and physique, treat them so cruelly? Quote. Yang Junchao. This kid seems a bit shameless. He felt that he was being careful in vain, and immediately said in a bad mood, when we finish the process here, I will send you the bounty and pennant then. Ah, give me the bounty and the pennant. Wang Tang was a little surprised, and quickly waved his hands. No need, I can't afford the bounty and the pennant. Really, these robbers have been wanted for a long time and have never been caught, so the bounty is quite high, 100,000. Yang Junchao thought that Wang Tang didn't know the amount of the bounty, so he explained. No need, I'm not short of this little money. Wang Tang said indifferently. Isn't that short of money? Yang Junchao was speechless, the boy's tone was quite loud. Why don't you donate the money to your police station? As public servants of the people, you have worked so hard, so I will take this money as a little bit of my heart. Wang Tang said. Then I will thank you on behalf of the entire police station. Yang Junchao was immediately in awe. By the way, Captain Yang, before I was captured by those robbers, my car was parked halfway. Can you check for me, has my car been impounded by the traffic police? Wang Tang suddenly remembered his supercar parked on the side of the road. Okay, I'll make a call and ask. Yang Junchao made a phone call, said a few words, and asked Wang Tang to report the license plate number, and the result came soon. It was really brought back. Let's go, I will take you to get it back. Yang Junchao hung up the phone and said. Okay. Wang Tang nodded and followed his pace. Speaking of which, you were really a bit ruthless. The two were walking on the road. Yang Junchao suddenly turned to look at him and said. It's the first time I've encountered this kind of thing, and it's really not serious. Wang Tang said helplessly. Compared to you, the first time I killed someone, I was far behind. At that time, I almost capsized in the gutter. Fortunately, a senior rescued me. Yang Junchao fell into memory. Then he said with some emotion. You are already a high-level warrior at such a young age, and your strength is even higher than mine. It seems that you will become a warrior in less than 2 years. Captain Yang won the award, and I was lucky too. Wang Tang said modestly. Not long after, the two arrived at the place, signed and received the car. Yang Junchao looked at the supercar in front of him and said nothing. No wonder you don't like the 100,000 yuan. It turns out that it's not bad. Wang Tang got into the car and waved to Yang Junchao. Captain Yang, thank you today, I have to go home, otherwise my parents should be careful. You're welcome, I forgot, you are still a high school student, go back quickly. Yang Junchao nodded. Watching the supercar go away, a man in his 30s walked up to Yang Junchao and said, what's the background of this kid? I want you, Yang Junchao, to run there yourself. No background, but he is a high-level martial artist, and today he killed 5 outlaws with rune guns with his bare hands. Yang Junchao said. Advanced warrior. The man was shocked and said. He is only 17 or 18 years old, he is already a high-level warrior, and he can kill 5 desperados with rune guns with his bare hands. He is so powerful, where did he come from? Genius. Who knows, but, it's amazing. I'm afraid I'll have to look up to him when I see him again. Yang Junchao sighed. The man nodded sympathetically. Wang Tang didn't know what the two behind him were talking about, so he drove straight to Jixing Martial Arts Hall. After arriving at the martial arts hall, he went to the second floor. Looking at the students in the training hall who were training in full swing, the fluctuating mood in their hearts gradually settled down. He picked up a wave of attributes, then walked to a sandbag and started to practice boxing. Bang bang bang. Wang Tang needed an outlet to release the pressure accumulated in his heart. He punched quickly, forming afterimages on his arm, and bombarded the sandbag. The sandbag swayed violently in his punches as if it had been hit by a violent storm. The students next to him saw his madness, and couldn't help but backed away a few steps. It's so scary, is this person crazy, please stay away. While practicing boxing, Wang Tang kept replaying the scene of killing 5 robbers today in his mind. If you let yourself choose again, will you still strike so ruthlessly? The answer is, yes. Although he was unwell, he didn't feel that he was at fault. Killers, people will always kill them. And in that case, if you don't kill with one blow, you are likely to encounter more intense resistance. The other party has a rune gun in his hand. If he is a little careless, he will be the one who dies, so the benevolence of a woman is not advisable, everything is just for living. After practicing boxing, he began to practice swords and knives. Wang Tang didn't want to stop for a moment, he wanted to plunge himself into extreme exhaustion, the only way to completely release the pressure. This practice lasted until 11 o'clock in the evening. All the students had left before he dragged his exhausted body and drove home. When I got home, my heart was completely at ease. Son, didn't you go out to eat with your classmates? Why did you go to the martial arts gym to practice martial arts? Seeing Wang Tang sweating profusely and looking exhausted, Li Xiame couldn't help asking. I didn't go until after dinner. For practicing martial arts, what matters is persistence. Wang Tang said with a smile. You are serious this time, kid. Li Xiame said happily. Go and wash up, I'll make you some supper, and I'll come down to eat later. Li Xiame's care made Wang Tang's cold heart feel warm immediately, and he walked upstairs with a smile. He took a change of clothes, walked into the bathroom, and turned on the tap. The cold water directly washed over his tired body, as if to wash everything away. After taking a shower, Wang Tang felt unprecedentedly relaxed, and his whole body was clear. He dried his hair and went downstairs. Wow, it smells so good. Mom, what delicious food did you cook? Your favorite egg noodles are made with star beast meat and added with star beast meat. Come and eat. Li Xiame came out of the kitchen with a bowl in her hand. No wonder the smell is a bit different, but it's more fragrant. Wang Tang picked up the chopsticks impatiently, sucked it and took a big mouthful. Delicious. After swallowing it whole, Wang Tang couldn't help admiring the hot air coming out of his mouth. Eat more if it tastes good. You've exhausted your energy from practicing martial arts, so you need to make up for it, Li Xiame said. Aha! Wang Tang swallowed most of the bowl of noodles into his stomach, raised his head and asked, Mom, where is my dad? Why didn't you see him come back? He's gone on a business trip and won't be back for 2 days. Li Xiame said. Oh. After a while, Wang Tang finished his noodles, patted his stomach in satisfaction, stood up and stretched. I'm full, Mom, I'm going upstairs, and you should go to bed earlier. Got it, I'll wash the dishes and go to sleep. Li Xiame replied. Wang Tang returned to his room, took out his phone and looked at it. There are several unread text messages on WeChat. 2 were from Bai Wei, asking what he was doing, and 1 was from Yu Hao, this kid wanted to practice martial arts with him. It was all sent by Wang Tang when he was held hostage, so naturally he couldn't reply. It's so late now, and he didn't come back, let's talk about it tomorrow. He turned on the computer and went online for a while, watching the sand sculpture netizens complaining about it, and when he felt drowsy, he climbed into bed in a happy mood, said goodnight to himself, closed his eyes and fell into a deep sleep. The next day, Saturday. It was rare for Wang Tang to wake up late, and he didn't open his eyes until after 8 o'clock. The sunlight from outside the window came in and fell on his face, so he couldn't help raising his hand to block it, and got used to it. Well, it's 8:45. Wang Tang checked the time, got up, brushed his teeth and washed his face, and then went downstairs. The servants at home, Aunt Chen and Aunt Li are already at work. Aunt Chen sweeps the floor and Aunt Li wipes the dust. The size of the villa is big, but it is troublesome to do hygiene. It is obviously unrealistic to do hygiene by yourself. Get up, come and have breakfast. Li Xiame said when she saw him. Mom, I overslept, why don't you call me? Wang Tang said. I saw that you were so tired, so I didn't call you. It's Saturday anyway, so it's not too late. Li Xiame said. The young master has changed a lot, and now he is more and more diligent. Aunt Li smiled and said. Although Aunt Chen and Aunt Li were servants, they got along well with their family members. No matter how rich Wang Tang was, he never showed any disrespect to them. This is due to Wang Shengguo's strictness and Li Xiame's character education. What kind of parents are there? What kind of children are there? I heard that the young master is practicing martial arts. My son has also practiced martial arts before. Unfortunately, he has no talent, so he had to give up in the end. After all, martial arts training is too heavy for us ordinary people. Aunt Chen also echoed. You guys, don't praise him, or your tail will go up to the sky. Li Xiame laughed. While eating breakfast, Wang Tang chatted with Aunt Li and the others. By the way, I went back to the WeChat messages sent by Bai Wei and Yu Hao last night. After breakfast, he said something to Li Xiame and drove out. Polestar Martial Arts Gym, the second floor of the martial arts training building. Wang Tang greeted several familiar students. Tang, I'm a bit late today. Zhang Xiaoyang stopped practicing boxing and wiped the sweat from his forehead. It seemed that he had been training for an hour. I overslept, and my mother didn't call me. Wang Tang said helplessly. Ha ha ha, mothers are the same all over the world. If I oversleep, my mother will never call me. Zhang Xiaoyang laughed. Wang Tang shook his head with a smile. By the way, let me tell you something. I'm about to be promoted to a senior warrior. Zhang Xiaoyang said happily. Oh, congratulations, when are you going to be promoted? Wang Tang was surprised, but he didn't find it strange. Zhang Xiaoyang's strength was already very close to that of a high-level warrior, and he had guessed that the other party might be promoted at any time. Get used to it in the morning, and then go to the test. If there is no accident, I will go to the third floor for training in the afternoon. Zhang Xiaoyang said. Wang Tang nodded and jokingly said, when you reach the third floor, there are more masters. Don't be abused too badly. HMPH, how is it possible? After I train for a while, I will definitely catch up with them soon, but you, don't make me wait too long. Promote to high-level warriors earlier, I found that I can improve faster when I compete with you, said Zhang Xiaoyang. Okay, I won't make you wait too long. Wang Tang smiled. The two chatted for a while, without wasting any more time, they started training separately. In the afternoon, Wang Tang went to watch Zhang Xiaoyang's test. All his indicators met the standards, and he successfully became a high-level martial artist and went to the third floor. Wang Tang was sincerely happy for him. Senior warrior, one step closer to being a warrior. Although there is still a long way to go in this step, every martial arts practitioner is striving for it. When can I become a warrior? It would be great if I could get a copy of the original force technique. Unfortunately, it's too difficult. Wang Tang thought silently, still at a loss. For the rest of the time, Wang Tang spent time in the martial arts gym, picking up attributes, and at the same time training himself desperately, even that fat man Wu Liang didn't have the heart to flirt with him. Sunday, after 9 o'clock. Wang Tang was still training in the martial arts gym when he suddenly received a call from Xu Jia. It is said that there is a party today, and I can meet many friends from the aristocratic family, so I invite him, Bai Wei and others to go together. Wang Tang deliberately refused, but in the end he couldn't bear Xu Jia's stalking, and acted as if he would annoy himself to death if he didn't agree. He could only helplessly agree. After all, they have been friends for many years, so it is not good to wipe Xu Jia's face. To be honest, he was reluctant to go. He didn't know how many times he had attended gatherings like this in his previous life. Inside are rich second-generation officials and second-generation officials. Everyone gathers to eat, drink, have fun, and get in touch with each other by the way. After establishing a good relationship, we will move around a lot in the future, and we will help each other when things happen. But when his family lost, these people hid as far away as possible, and none of them were really willing to help. He understood then. They are all cronies, superficial brothers, and they can only help with small problems, which are irrelevant. When it comes to big things, they are not reliable at all. Forget it, let's go eat and drink. Wang Tang comforted himself. He put the sword and knife in his hand back into the weapons room, then went home to tidy up, changed his clothes, and prepared to join Xu Jia and the others. Mom, I won't be coming back for dinner tonight, I'm going to a party in the circle with Xu Jia and the others. Wang Tang said to Li Xiame. Go ahead, go out and meet a few more friends. If you practice martial arts all day long, I'm afraid that you will become a martial idiot, and you won't even be able to find a girlfriend in the future. When Li Xiame mentioned his girlfriend, Wang Tang's head suddenly became dizzy. And looking at her appearance, she wanted to talk about this topic endlessly, so scared that he immediately ran away. Horrible. Wang Tang was driving the car with lingering fear. 20 minutes later, he and Xu Jia met at the toll booth at the intersection of the expressway leading to Baoan Mountain. This time the party was held in a villa in Baoan Mountain. It is said that the organizer's family has a lot of energy and has great appeal among the younger generation. The villa is completely his personal property, and this time he provided it for everyone to use for the party. The four of them drove 2 cars. Bai Wei sat in Wang Tang's car and gave him a rough introduction to the situation. In fact, she is not very clear. Xu Jia drove the car and led the way. Yu Hao sat in his car, feeling a little resentful. Originally he wanted to sit with Bai Wei so that they could chat along the way. But before he could speak, Bai Wei had already run to Wang Tang's car. Wang Tang's supercar can only seat 2 people, Yu Hao can only give up the idea. Baoan Mountain is on the outskirts of Donghai City, and it only takes half an hour to get there from the highway. There are road signs on the expressway, and the group of them marked the expressway along the road sign, and drove straight into the mountains along a cement road. After years of development, Bowen Mountain has built many villas and even entertainment facilities on the mountain. In order to facilitate travel, a wide road has been paved. It is also because Bowen Mountain is not high at all. If it is too high, the road will not pass up at all. The forests on both sides of the road are lush and the scenery is pleasant. From time to time, the sound of birdsong and the sound of running water in the mountains can be heard, which makes people feel refreshed and in a good mood. Since the time-space rift appeared, Earth-star creatures have undergone earth-shaking changes. The trees became tall and lush, the animals became gigantic, and the racial characteristics were highlighted. The ferocious ones became more ferocious, and the second-hand ones became more second-handed. In the wilderness area, there are 100-meter-long giant eagles soaring in the sky, heavy-duty lions entrenched in the grasslands, and fierce tigers with wings roaring in the mountains. Of course, there are many shabby erhas in the city who are still committed to the great cause of house demolition, and the soft and cute cats are extremely cute. The mutated star beasts are kept out of the city by warriors, but people and animals in the city still get along happily. Bowen Mountain is actually not considered wild, and still belongs to Donghai City. The trees here are lush and tens of meters high, which is very spectacular. From time to time, some birds with bright feathers fly out of the woods and stop on the side of the road, turning a blind eye to the passing vehicles. These birds were just the most common wild birds in the past, but now they have bright feathers, beautiful eyes, and a graceful figure, and they are not much worse than those rare birds in the previous life. But now, they are just wild birds that can be seen everywhere in the mountains. A white rabbit sticks its head out from the grass, its hair is soft and shiny, its eyes are like rubies, and its long ears are folded back. Little white rabbit, such a cute little white rabbit, Bai Wei exclaimed in surprise. Wang Tang was driving the car, glanced at it out of the corner of his eye, and the corner of his mouth couldn't help twitching. This little white rabbit is not small at all. The car drove away quickly, and the little white rabbit got into the grass and disappeared, which greatly disappointed Bai Wei. The two cars drove halfway up the mountain. A manor is built on the hillside, with lush vegetation behind it, blending with nature, classy but not luxurious. After parking the car, Wang Tang and the others walked towards the villa. A waiter greets you at the door. Several people walked into the villa, walked through a corridor, and came to a hall. There are already many people chatting and laughing inside. Seeing Wang Tang and the others, someone greeted them immediately, and said with a smile, "Cousin, you are here, do you want to introduce me?" Sun Jaoyan, my cousin. This is my elder brother Wang Tang, and the other two are also my best friends, Yu Hao and Bai Wei. Xu Jia introduced the two sides to each other. Sun Jaoyan was a little surprised when he saw that Xu Jia was called brother Wang Tang. He and Xu Jia are cousins and usually get closer. So I know him well. Usually Xu Jia is a very unscrupulous person, but he is called brother Wang Tang, which shows that Wang Tang has something to admire him. Xu Jia is my cousin. He is called big brother, so I have to call him brother too. Sun Jaoyan smiled at Wang Tang. They all said that they would not hit the smiling person. Wang Tang also smiled and said, "We are all the same age, so don't care about brother or brother, just call us by name." Sun Jaoyan turned to Yu Hao and Bai Wei, chatted and laughed a few words, covering every aspect, and no one was left behind. Afterwards, Sun Jaoyan acted as the matchmaker, and Xu Jia and others quickly became one with the others. Although Wang Tang didn't like to deal with it, since he was here, when others came to chat, they would smile and chime in, and it wouldn't embarrass anyone. This kind of thing, as a rich second generation, even if you haven't learned it specially, you can see it. What's more, he is not a stunned young man who doesn't understand anything and can't understand anything. Surface work still needs to be done. And among them, Bai Wei is the most popular. Xiaonizi is good-looking, standing with a few girls, makes other boys look sideways frequently. Seeing Yu Hao was very unpleasant. Afterwards, many more people came one after another. There were a total of more than 20 people, all of whom were the second generation of rich officials. Wang Tang couldn't help but lamented that the organizer really had a lot of face. Gao Yan, who is the organizer of this time? Give me some advice. Xu Jia whispered to Sun Jaoyan from the side. Zhou Beiyun. Sun Jaoyan chuckled before saying a name. Zhou Beiyun. Xu Jia was startled. The Zhou family. Yes, it's the Zhou family you were thinking of. Sun Jaoyan nodded. Then who is Baiyun this week? Shu Jia was puzzled, and his curiosity was about to explode. The third child of the Zhou family has been abroad before, but he just came back this time. Sun Gao said. Aren't you leaving after you come back? Shu Jia immediately responded. Yeah, I'm not leaving. I'm afraid the Zhou family will have a fight this week. Sun Jaoyan smiled inexplicably. Bai Wei and Yu Hao were also listening. As children of rich families, they could naturally imagine what would happen next. Wang Tang didn't take it seriously, it had nothing to do with him. No matter what, he will not participate, and as long as he becomes a warrior, the so-called family disputes are just a joke. Coming, a voice suddenly shouted. Footsteps sounded outside the hall, and then 4 people walked in from outside. I'm sorry, everyone, I picked up a friend on the way and kept you waiting for a long time. The woman walking among the 4 looked around and said. This woman was in her early 20s. She was tall and tall. In terms of appearance, she was at least 90 or above, but she had a domineering aura on her body. Her chin was raised slightly, revealing her slender neck, like a proud white swan. It's not too late, we've just arrived. Everyone was very face-saving and echoed. That guy Li Rongcheng is here too. Shu Jia leaned towards Wang Tang, frowning. Didn't this Miss Zhou say it? That's her friend. Yu Hao pouted. Li Rongcheng has a feud with us, so he won't get in the way, speak ill of us in front of Zhou Baiyun. Bai Wei said. He dares to gossip behind his back, isn't he afraid that brother Wang Tang will beat him up? I haven't seen him at school these days, so he must be avoiding brother Wang Tang. Shu Jia said disdainfully. Okay, let's not say a few words about their home game. Wang Tang said. Zhou Baiyun is a long-sleeved and good at dancing. He works among the rich second-generation officials, and soon makes them forget the unhappiness caused by her being late. And Li Rongcheng stayed by her side the whole time, obviously Zhou Baiyun valued him very much. Whether they are real friends or not is unknown. After a while, Zhou Baiyun walked up to Wang Tang and the others with red wine in his hand. These guys look a bit unfamiliar, who are the talents from? The so-called flowery sedan chair is carried by everyone. As soon as the third princess of the Zhou family spoke, she lifted Wang Tang and the others high. Talented. If such ignorant people as Wang Tang can be regarded as talents, they would really drag the standard of talents to the abyss. Li Rongcheng's face changed when he saw Wang Tang. Yuan Zhenghua, who was following behind Li Rongcheng, also changed his expression. The expressions of the 2 people are exactly the same. Sun Jaoyan hadn't introduced him yet, but Zhou Baiyun keenly noticed the strange atmosphere among them, and said with a smile, Why, do you know each other? I know, why don't I know each other anymore, we are all old classmates, old acquaintances. Shu Jia said with a chuckle. Young Master Li, your complexion has improved a lot recently. Seeing that everyone was old acquaintances, Wang Tang greeted them. Who knew that Li Rongcheng's face was even uglier? Zhou Baiyun didn't know what was going on at all. The smile on his face was a little stiff, and Sun Jaoyan quickly introduced it to her. So it's the 5th young master of the Wang family. Zhou Baiyun said with a smile. The emotion just now disappeared in an instant. Before coming here, she had already done a detailed understanding of the big and small families in Donghai City. Now, through Sun Jaoyan's introduction, she knew the identities of Wang Tang, Shu Jia and Bai Wei. After a brief chat, she apologized slightly and walked towards the others. When she walked away, Shu Jia said in a low voice, This week, Baiyun, I'm afraid he might look down on our family. Although Zhou Baiyun didn't show it, she could clearly feel that her attitude towards Wang Tang and his group was not as enthusiastic as that of others. Sun Jaoyan's face was a bit ugly, Shu Jia and the others were called by him, and Zhou Baiyun's attitude made his face dull. Wang Tang patted him on the shoulder. Don't worry, we're here today to eat and drink, and making friends is secondary. Gao Yan, don't worry, it's good to eat, drink and play for nothing. Shu Jia laughed. As soon as he interrupted, the mood of several people suddenly improved a lot. Tell me, why did Li Rongcheng and Zhou Baiyun get together? It stands to reason that the Li family is not as high as the Zhou family. Bai Wei asked suddenly at this time. I heard that Zhou Baiyun is recruiting warriors, especially those high-level warriors who are expected to be warriors. Sun Jaoyan said. It's not surprising to say that. After Li Rongcheng became a high-level martial artist, the Li family publicized the matter, for fear that others would not know. Everyone said that the Li family had a genius, and there must be a warrior in the future. Hao also joined the discussion. HMPH, is it so easy to become a warrior? High-level warriors are not rare, but there are very few who can become warriors. Not one warrior can be born out of 1,000 high-level warriors. Just Li Rongcheng, the Li family is one of them. He may not be able to pile him up even if he sells everything. Xu Jia was very upset and said disdainfully. But this does not prevent Zhou Beiyun from wooing him now. Bai Wei sneered. Spread the net widely and catch more fish. Li Rongcheng is probably one of the fish, but if Zhou Beiyun knows your strength, brother Wang Tang. Hee hee, Xu Jia laughed gloatingly. This kind of thing has nothing to do with me. No matter how nice she is to me, I won't get involved. Wang Tang shook his head. Sun Jaoyan's heart moved. The conversation between the two of them at this time, combined with Li Rongcheng's expression before. After some brainstorming, he seemed to have discovered something, and a gleam flashed in his eyes. However, he didn't show it in particular. His attitude was the same as before, but he just integrated into Wang Tang's small group intentionally or unintentionally. Yu Hao and Bai Wei did not reject Sun Jaoyan's character. Although Wang Tang saw something, he didn't say much. In addition, he is Xu Jia's cousin, so it is easier for them to accept him with this kind of relationship. So for a while a few people chatted happily. At noon, it's time for dinner. Plates of exquisite dishes were put on the table, with a tangy aroma that made the mouth water. This is Star Beast ingredients. Yu Hao has seen it more or less, and said in a low voice at this time. Zhou Beiyun also spent a lot of money. These Star Beast ingredients cost a lot of money. Xu Jia sighed. Everyone came to the table one after another, and the others moved to Zhou Beiyun's side, occupying the front of the table in a short while. The entire dining table is long. Wang Tang and the others could only sit at the end, feeling a little out of place. Soon, everyone will eat. Wang Tang took a piece of meat and put it in his mouth, took a sip, and found that the blood energy contained in it was not very strong. These should be just slightly mutated wild animals on the planet Earth. He immediately understood. It's right to think about it, the people here are just ordinary people, how can they bear the energy contained in the real Star Beast ingredients? Moreover, after Wang Tang took a rough look, many of these rich second-generation officials and second-generation officials were pale, and they looked as if they might die suddenly at any time. Especially for them, eating some is a tonic, and eating too much is no different from poison, and it will be fatal. Zhou Beiyun probably understood this too, so he prepared this ingredient. Of course, most people don't know this. The slightly mutated wild animals are actually the same as the rare game eaten by the rich in the previous life, and they are rarely eaten. In addition, these ingredients have been cooked by senior chefs, and they are full of color, fragrance, and nourishing. They are very happy to eat one by one. Everyone knows that Zhou Beiyun has a heart. After eating this meal for more than an hour, Zhou Beiyun got up and said, there are still many entertainments in Baoan Mountain. Everyone has a rest for an hour in the afternoon. We set off to play at 2:30. Since we are here today, we have to play. Have fun. Shout out to everyone. There are quite a few rooms in the villa, and everyone found a room for themselves. Those who want to rest go to rest, and those who don't want to rest continue to gather together to chat and fart. Xu Jia and Bai Wei didn't have such energy as Wang Tang, so they all planned to take a break. Since Wang Tang practiced martial arts, he has consciously kept his energy in a state of abundance at all times. Since he has nothing to do at this time, he also went to take a nap. 2:30. Everyone came out of the room one after another, gathered in the hall, and went to the mountain under Zhou Beiyun's guidance. To say that there are indeed a lot of entertainment facilities in this mountain, there is an open-air mountain spring swimming pool, and the weather is hot, so you can take a pistol to play in the water, and take a look at beautiful women in swimsuits. You must know that there are many beautiful girls among these rich children. Not only that, Baoan Mountain has also designated a special area as a hunting ground, and tourists can hunt in teams, which is also very interesting. With men's love for firearms, this hunting game can undoubtedly satisfy them to a large extent. As for other entertainment, I won't repeat them one by one. When everyone arrived at the place, looking at the open-air swimming pool under the small waterfall and the various entertainment facilities next to it, they all wished to take off their clothes immediately and jump into the cool water. Oh, apparently someone had already done this, and without taking off their clothes, they jumped into the water with a wolf howl. Splash! Lin Hao, are you crazy? The people who knew him couldn't help laughing and cursing in disgust. Lin Hao poked his head out of the water, wiped the water on his face, and laughed ha ha ha, it's so cool, hurry down if you want to play, what are you talking about? As the name suggests, he is really bold and unpretentious. Zhou Beiyun praised him. Lin Hao laughed again. Sand sculpture. Xu Jia was speechless, and cursed with a smile. The hunting ground is right next to it. If you want to play, you can go there, just ask the staff to register and you can play. You can go get some game and have a barbecue at night. I have prepared a mysterious gift for the person who has the most prey. Zhou Beiyun pointed to a similar entrance on the left, explained it, and then reminded. However, I would like to remind everyone that many of the beasts inside are still a little aggressive, so you must pay attention to safety. It is best to play in a team and take care of each other. If you act alone, the danger will be greatly increased. As soon as Zhou Beiyun finished speaking, someone greeted him immediately, and walked towards the hunting ground with great interest. Wang Tang's heart moved, and he called out the attribute panel. Perception, 82. Physique, 167. Power, 2888. Speed, 1033. Combat skills. Basic boxing detailed, basic body detailed, basic sword detailed, basic knife detailed, spear minor. These days, not only the various attributes have been improved, but even the column of combat skills has added a spear technique. And it has reached the Xiaocheng level. Wang Tang has a lot of knowledge about firearms in his mind at this time, and he feels that his aim has become super accurate, and his eyes are a little sharp. The attribute of gun skills comes from the 5 gangsters who were killed 2 days ago. Those gangsters were all warriors, and they only learned superficial boxing and body skills, which provided him with very limited attributes, but when they used guns, they dropped a lot of spear attributes. The combination of the 5 of them directly pushed Wang Tang's spear skills to the Xiaocheng level. Killing, explosive attributes are undoubtedly the most. It's scary to think about it. In addition to attributes, Tiantian Wang Tang has another harvest, the rune gun. The 5 gangsters each had a rune gun in their hands, but the leading gangster actually had another hidden on his body. After those hostages ran out of the building, he followed the principle of not wasting, touching the corpse. Wang Tang, can I say that this is a good habit of playing games? Fortunately, the monitoring was blown up by several professional gangsters, which created the most convenient conditions for Wang Tang. So now there is actually a murder weapon hidden on Wang Tang's body. Wang Tang hadn't had a chance to experiment with the gun skill attribute yet, but when he heard that guns could be used in the hunting ground, he was thrilled. Brother Wang Tang, shall we go play? Xu Jia said with bright eyes. Yu Hao and Sun Jiaoyan also looked eager to try. Wang Tang smiled in his heart. Everyone seems to think of a piece. Xiaowei, are you going? Wang Tang asked Bai Wei beside him. I won't go, you play with your real guns, and I play with my little water gun. Bai Wei said, raising the water gun she got from someone who didn't know where. You just want to be happy. Wang Tang's eyes twitched, and he said to Xu Jia and the others, then let's go. Bai Wei joined the water gun team of several girls. The 4 of Wang Tang came to the entrance of the hunting ground, registered with the staff, took their guns, and stepped into the hunting ground. The gun, although it is a rune gun, but the power is incomparable with those used by the bandits. The same as the rune gun, the power is strong or weak, the strong one can kill warriors, and the weak one can only be used to hunt the lowest mutant beasts. According to the level of power, rune guns can be divided into 1 to 9 stars. Right now these shotguns are not even 1 star. But Xu Jia and the others touched the gun as if they were touching some peerless treasure. A group of people walked in the hunting ground. The entire hunting ground was surrounded by barbed wire. The rune power was attached to the wire, and its defense was much higher than that of ordinary wire. The light in the hunting ground was a little dark, the trees were rising from the ground, and the dense canopy blocked the skylight. On the ground are rotten branches and leaves that have been accumulated all year round, and there is a constant creaking sound when stepped on. Isn't this hunting ground usually cleaned by professionals? Shu Jia complained. Why clean this place? It's completely superfluous. Many people come here for this kind of atmosphere. Too many artificial traces are not beautiful. Sun Jaoyan said. Shu Jia thought for a while, nodded and said, it makes sense. Yu Hao rolled his eyes straight away. I have to say, Shu Jia is usually a bit of an idiot and a bit of an idiot. Boom. A few people were talking nonsense, and a gunshot suddenly rang in their ears, scaring them almost to jump up in place. I'll go, brother Wang Tang, why are you shooting? Shu Jia patted his chest and said. Wang Tang raised his chin. Shu Jia and the three looked in the direction. A big gray rabbit, lying in the grass, dead. Good start. Shu Jia burst out laughing. Yu Hao and Sun Jaoyan looked at Wang Tang in amazement. They didn't realize when this rabbit appeared. And this quasi-head really has nothing to say, it kills with one blow. Shu Jia picked up the rabbit. A few people continued to walk deep into the hunting ground, which was the paradise of wild animals. An hour passed in the blink of an eye. Shu Jia and the others were carrying prey in their hands, and they seemed to have reaped a lot. There is movement ahead. As soon as Wang Tang spoke, the three stopped and immediately raised their guns. Listening carefully, there was indeed a slight sound coming from not far in front. They had long been familiar with Wang Tang's sensitivity, and they took it for granted at this time. They each found a tree and hid them. Hurry up, don't let it run away. Someone shouted in front. Shu Jia and the others looked at each other. It seemed that they had met someone who came to hunt together. They are about to give up. There was a sway in the bushes in front of them, which made them stop their movements, and then they saw an agile black shadow suddenly rushing out. The person who just shouted also chased after him. It's them. Shu Jia and the others saw that it was Zhou Beiyun and Li Rongcheng. Li Rongcheng was anxious to show himself in front of Zhou Beiyun. He raised his gun and shot while running. Bang bang bang. All three shots missed, and the black shadow dashed left and right, with incredible agility. Li Rongcheng, don't shoot indiscriminately if you can't hit us. Waste of bullets is the second priority. What will you do if you hit us? Shu Jia yelled mockingly. Why are you here too? Li Rongcheng cursed very unhappily. Hey, this hunting ground is not owned by your family. If you can come, we can't. Shu Jia said bitterly. You, stop it quickly, it's about to run. Before Li Rongcheng could speak, Zhou Beiyun suddenly shouted. I'm going, brother Wang Tang, it's a white fox, going to you. Shu Jia glanced at it and screamed strangely. Wang Tang didn't want to make a move. This fox was the prey of Zhou Beiyun and others, so intervening halfway would inevitably cause resentment. But Li Rongcheng fired a few more shots, but they missed at all. Whoever hits this fox, I promise him one condition. Seeing that the white fox was about to run away, Zhou Beiyun shouted. Wang Tang looked at the fox running towards him and was speechless. Heaven has a way, you don't go. This is impossible if you don't make a move. Boom, one shot. He aimed at the fox's evasive trajectory ahead of time and shot him in the abdomen. The white fox screamed, fell from the tree trunk, and hit the ground with a bang. Haha, hit. Seeing the hit, Shu Jia was even happier than Wang Tang. He came out from behind the tree and laughed at Li Rongcheng, his face turned blue from laughing. Shit, Li Rongcheng cursed. Yu Hao, Sun Jaoyan came over, looked around the fox, and clicked his tongue. This fox has really nice fur. Zhou Beiyun came over, knelt down and stroked the fox's fur, and said happily, very good, this fur is just right for a scarf. After being baptized by the Force, the animal has mutated. The fur of this white fox is like silk and satin. Zhou Beiyun couldn't put it down immediately. She handed the fox to a girl beside her, stood up and said to Wang Tang, I didn't expect you to be so good at marksmanship. Thank you for your shot just now. I'm not talking empty words. You can make a request to me. Finally, with a playful smile, he added something. But, don't go too far. It has to be said that Zhou Beiyun usually has a haughty look, but now he makes such a playful expression, which really has a contrasting attraction. Thinking about it, she somehow saw Wang Tang's strength, and turned her attitude towards him 180 degrees. Oh, it smells so good. No need, it's just a matter of raising your hands. Wang Tang smiled, and Li Rongcheng couldn't help but go crazy with his indifferent expression, roaring inwardly. Pretentious. Pretentious. He must be pretending. Let's go. Wang Tang turned his head to greet Xu Jia and the others, and headed towards the entrance of the hunting ground first. He's tired of playing, the prey here can't even display 1/3 of his spear prowess. Xu Jia did not hesitate, he gave Li Rongcheng a middle finger, and followed Wang Tang's pace. Zhou Beiyun's complexion suddenly turned a little dark. Sun Jiaoyan said to Zhou Beiyun, "Sister Zhou, we are tired from playing, so we will go back first, you guys take your time." Zhou Beiyun was secretly annoyed that Wang Tang didn't show face, but he couldn't show it. He just nodded in a calm manner. "Wait for me." Yu Hao was a little bit reluctant to part with the gun in his hand, but he was the only one left, so it was meaningless, so he quickly trotted after him. The four returned to the entrance and returned the gun to the staff. There are many beach chairs next to the open-air swimming pool, shaded by greenery, and sparkling mountain spring water in front of you. Wang Tang and the others found 4 empty beach chairs and lay down on them. Have some chilled fruit, snacks, and drinks. Appreciating the beauties in the water, tisk, so happy. Xu Jia and Sun Jiaoyan laughed like ducks. Yu Hao couldn't help but glanced a few times, then turned his head to look at Bai Wei devoutly with a look of contempt. It's good to be young and full of energy. Wang Tang wore a pair of sunglasses, smoked a cigarette in his mouth, and sighed with emotion. This guy is pretending again. Still pretending to be against the air. Xu Jia came over suddenly and asked mysteriously, "Brother Wang Tang, which one do you like?" Xu Jia nodded. Wang Tang glanced at it and said, "It goes without saying, of course the figure is good." Shameless. The three spoke in unison. Wang Tang laughed loudly, and when he was looking at the beautiful woman over there, his eyes narrowed suddenly at a sudden scene. He casually picked up a small stone on the ground and popped it with his fingers. Call out. The small stone cut through the air, and finally hit the salty pig's hand quietly stretched out by a young man in the swimming pool. The strength and accuracy are just right. Perfect. Ah! The young man involuntarily let out a cry of pain, and the salty pig's hand retracted as if it had been pricked by a needle. What's wrong with you? Bai Wei turned her head and looked at the young man suspiciously. Oh, it's okay, I seem to be bitten by something on my foot just now, which scared me. He put his hand behind his back without any trace, and said with a dry smile. Bai Wei ignored it and continued to play water guns with her little sisters, enjoying themselves. The young man looked at the back of his hand, it was red and swollen, and the pain made him gasp. What happened just now? He was full of doubts and looked around, but unfortunately found nothing. Wang Tang thought that with this lesson, the young man would restrain himself a bit. As a result, 10 minutes later, this guy sneaked up behind Bai Wei again, and stretched out his salty pig's hand again. Wang Tang frowned. It's not over yet. He picked up a larger stone and popped it out again with his fingers. The stone rushed towards the young man with a strong wind. This time, instead of hitting the back of his hand, he directly attacked his lower body. Snapped. A crisp sound came out. Ah! Followed by a howl of pain. The earth-shattering howl startled everyone. The young man's entire face was twisted, his hands were covering his lower body, and his body was bent like a prawn. What happened? Everyone looked at him, and some acquaintances came forward to inquire. But he didn't dare to say anything. He waved his hands again and again, and after waiting for a long time, he said in a hoarse voice, it's okay, I seem to have been bitten by something just now." Hearing this familiar answer, Bai Wei looked at him suspiciously. This person stood behind her twice, and both times she screamed inexplicably, saying that she was not that stupid when she was bitten. Bai Wei seemed to feel something, raised her head, and saw Wang Tang on the shore. Wang Tang raised his eyebrows at her and made a gesture. Bai Wei suddenly realized, and immediately became disgusted with that young man. After being disturbed by this, she lost her interest. She came out of the water and walked to Wang Tang and the others. He found an empty chair and sat down, drank a drink and chatted with them, but didn't mention what happened just now. Time flies. It didn't take long for it to get dark, and everyone lit a bonfire. Zhou Beiyun had already ordered people to clean up the prey. At this moment, plates of fresh wild game were put on the table, and those who knew how to barbecue began to show off their skills, and performed well in front of the beauties. With barbecue and fruits and vegetables, although everyone's mouth is full of oil, they will not feel greasy. Coupled with beer, the atmosphere is even higher. People gathered in groups of 3 or 5, singing songs, playing games, as if they had known friends for a long time. In the midst of eating, drinking and playing, time gradually passed. At about 9 o'clock, everyone was tired after playing all day, and was about to go home. Zhou Beiyun stood up, clapped his hands to attract everyone's attention, and planned to say a few words on the scene. Everyone is also very face-saving, and they all look at her quietly. Zhou Beiyun opened his mouth. Boom! A loud noise suddenly came from the distant mountains and forests. Even though they were far away, everyone felt that the ground seemed to shake. What happened? Everyone was taken aback and looked in the direction of the sound, only to find that it was pitch black and they couldn't see anything clearly. Everyone looked at each other, not knowing what happened there. Li Rongcheng stood up at this time, and said to Zhou Beiyun, "Let me go and have a look." "All right, be careful." Zhou Beiyun nodded. Li Rongcheng smiled and ran into the forest ahead, his figure lost in the darkness. This Li Rongcheng is a high-level martial artist, and only martial arts practitioners can play a role in this situation. "You fu or die," said enviously. Wang Tang looked into the dark night, hesitated for a moment, and said to Xu Jia and the others, "Don't run around here, I'll go and have a look too." "Brother Wang Tang, then you have to be careful," Bai Wei said, slightly worried. Wang Tang nodded. When he stepped on his foot, he jumped up suddenly, tapped his toes lightly on the tree trunk, and landed on the top of a big tree's canopy in 2s and 3s. Everyone exclaimed. They didn't expect that Wang Tang, who was not astonishing in appearance, was also a martial artist. And it seems that this strength is not weaker than Li Rongcheng at all. Sure enough, it's a high-level warrior. Looking at his strength, he seems to be above Li Rongcheng. A gleam flashed in Zhou Beiyun's eyes, looking at the figure standing on the top of the tree. Wang Tang looked far away, identified the direction, exerted force under his feet, and suddenly burst out with violent force. Boom! His toes were a little bit on the canopy, and the entire canopy exploded, and the leaves scattered from the sky. And Wang Tang's body was like a crossbow shot out, rushing into the night sky, relying on the trees, he moved quickly in the high air. A group of rich second-generation officials and second-generation officials are dazzled. Is this the strength of high-level warriors? If Li Rongcheng saw this scene, he would definitely reprimand Wang Tang for pretending to be coercive again. And fart high-level warriors. This is not martial arts at all, is it? Which high-level warrior has his exaggerated strength? If every senior warrior broke the rules like him, the city would already be full of warriors flying over the roof and walls. Not long after Wang Tang left, Li Rongcheng came back. What did you find? Zhou Beiyun stepped forward and asked. Li Rongcheng shook his head. The sound should have come from a very far away place. I checked all around here and found nothing unusual. Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, there was another loud noise. At that time, the atmosphere was awkward. Li Rongcheng couldn't hold back. Xu Jia and the others sneered unabashedly beside him, which made him even more annoyed. What are you laughing at? Huh, where's Wang Tang? He suddenly realized that Wang Tang was nowhere to be seen. After you left, Wang Tang also went to check. Zhou Beiyun said. Li Rongcheng's face became even more ugly. Why is there this guy for everything? Let's wait a little longer, maybe Wang Tang will bring back some news. A rich second generation said. Alright, then wait. Zhou Beiyun nodded. Wang Tang shuttled through the mountains and forests, tapping lightly with his feet, every time he tapped on the canopy of the trees, and then leapt forward. Ordinary high-level warriors really don't have his strength. The crown of the tree is a frivolous thing. If it has too much strength, it will fall directly. If it is not strong enough, it will not be able to jump up at all. Generally, high-level warriors not only do not have such strength, nor do they have such strong body control, so it is really impossible for Wang Tang to pretend to be so aggressive. After a while, Wang Tang stopped, jumped down from the tree, and landed lightly on the ground. It should be around here. Wang Tang's eyes scanned the darkness and found some clues. Someone was fighting here just now, and there was such a loud noise, could it be a warrior? There was a slight movement in his heart, startled by his guess. If it's really a martial artist, then I'd better not go there. Wang Tang retreated in his heart, but he couldn't help hesitating. But fighters will drop attribute bubbles when they fight, right? What if there is something I need? He stopped at the same place. In his mind, there was a voice on the right telling him that curiosity killed the cat, and another voice on the left was tempting him, wealth are in danger. Otherwise, I'll take a look, and if there's anything wrong, I'll run away immediately. Wang Tang still convinced himself, and groped carefully, feeling extremely nervous. After walking forward for another 10 meters, the surroundings were full of fallen trees, the trunks of which were directly smashed to pieces, and the tops were still scorched black. There are several pits in the ground. Half of the edge of the pit was scorched black, and the other half was covered with ice debris. Wang Tang opened his mouth, feeling a little shocked. Could this be the power of a warrior? He took a few more steps forward, his gaze suddenly fixed. A figure was lying on the ground, lifeless. And there are several attribute bubbles floating beside the figure. A sense of ecstasy just rose in Wang Tang's heart, and suddenly a sense of horror surged into his heart, completely submerging the joy. In an instant, Wang Tang's hair went numb, and goosebumps appeared all over his body. A tingling sensation somewhere in the back. He didn't even think about it. He exploded at the fastest speed, and activated the micro-level movement skills. It was too late to dodge to the side, so I could only turn sideways slightly. Laugh. A sword light passed through Wang Tang's side, tore open his clothes and pierced his skin. Blood splattered. Fortunately, it was only a skin injury. But he didn't dare to relax at all, the danger was like a gangrene. Almost at the same time as he avoided it, he shook his hand, and a small rune gun appeared in his hand, and fired several shots in the direction of the sword glow. Bang 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 bang. Wang Tang didn't stop shooting until all the bullets in the barrel were exhausted. He dodged and hid behind a tree, panting heavily, his heart was still beating wildly, and he still had lingering fear. Who is it? Who the hell? Why did you kill me? It was very quiet in the woods, except for the rustling of the wind blowing the leaves, there was no sound. Wang Tang waited for a moment. He poked his head out slightly, and looked in the direction where the sword glow came from. A black figure was leaning against a tree, also motionless. Several bubbles floated. The faint light from the bubbles made Wang Tang vaguely see that the figure seemed to be dead. Beat me to death. Isn't it a warrior? Wang Tang was full of doubts, hesitated for a moment, and walked over there, with the strength of his fists, always ready to explode. But when he got closer, he found that the other party was indeed dead. One shot hit the forehead, and several shots were distributed around the internal organs. If this is not dead, then it is not a human being. Call. Wang Tang breathed a sigh of relief. He touched his waist, his hands were covered with blood. It's so dangerous, I almost died. Is the world of warriors so dangerous? They will kill people at every turn. Wang Tang was puzzled. Looking at the face of the other party who was dying, there was still a sense of inconceivability and fear of dying. Maybe he didn't expect to die by my hands at all. Then Wang Tang's eyes fell on the few bubbles that fell beside the opponent. Pick up. Red Flame Art. Elementary Fire Talent. Fire. Red Flame Art. Elementary Fire Talent. Fire Force *2. Fire Lin Swordsmanship 10. Spirit 0.1. All 5 bubbles were picked up by Wang Tang. In an instant, his whole person underwent an earth-shaking change. Spirit *0.1 blended in, making Wang Tang's head clear for a while, very short, and disappeared in an instant. At the same time, inexplicable changes took place in his body. Close your eyes, it was pitch black. But now he felt many tiny fiery red particles, they wandered between the heaven and the earth, like elves with life. The original force of the fire element. This is the original force of fire. After Wang Tang's body was transformed, the original force of the fire element wandering around seemed to have found an amusement park, and rushed towards him with cheers, and penetrated into his body from the pores all over his body. But they were not guided, they only knew how to rampage in Wang Tang's body. Fortunately, a flash of superfluous memory worked. Red Flame Ju, original force technique. An illusory figure was cultivating in Wang Tang's mind, and the veins in the body manifested, with the spine as the backbone, extending to the limbs and bones, densely all over the body. The original force of the fire element was immediately pulled. The original force attribute of the 2 o'clock fire element just picked up as the most honest. At this time, it seems to be a team leader, leading a group of radish heads, lining up one after another, and marching forward in the veins of Wang Tang's body. Finally, they follow the backbone of the spine, down into a node at the bottom. Red light shines. Boom! A burning sensation erupted from the tail of the spine and spread to Wang Tang's whole body. The injury he suffered before healed quickly when the burning sensation flowed through, until it disappeared. In the end, a ball of hot air steamed from his celestial spirit cover. Then it slowly dissipated, the red light at the tail node gradually converged, and finally fell silent. On the other side, there is also a figure, holding a battle sword, practicing in Wang Tang's mind. The power of fire is wrapped in the battle sword, which is amazing. Fire Lin swordsmanship, original force combat skills. When everything disappeared, Wang Tang opened his eyes, suppressed the joy in his heart, and looked at the attribute panel. After seeing the result, Wang Tang couldn't help being stunned. The properties panel has completely changed. Perception, 83. Spirit, 12.1. Talent, primary fire talent 10 300ths. Force, 6 100ths fire 1-star trooper level. Cultivation method, red flame Ju 1 100th for beginners. Combat skills, basic combat skills fist, sword, knife, subtlety, spear technique, minor success, fire sword technique, entry level 10 100ths. Knowledge, basic subjects, full score. Comprehensive combat power, 132. The final interpretation right belongs to the system. This is. Wang Tang looked at the completely changed attribute panel, especially the force column above, and he couldn't take his eyes off it. 1-star trooper level. I have become a warrior. Wang Tang clenched his fists and took several deep breaths before he managed to calm down. So this person is indeed a warrior. And I actually killed a warrior. He looked down at the lifeless warrior corpse in front of him, not knowing what mood he should be in for a while. Call, let out a foul breath. He suddenly remembered that there was another person on the other side, who also dropped a few attribute bubbles, and he had to pick them up immediately, otherwise he would disappear after a while. Fortunately, although the scene just now was a long story, it actually only passed for a while. When Wang Tang came to that person again, although the bubbles were a bit illusory, they did not completely disappear. Pick up. Elementary Ice Element Talent. Ice Force 1. Mysterious Ice Art. Phantom Ice Fist 8. 4 attribute bubbles, 1 less spirit than the warrior in front. As expected, this person is also a warrior. As the attribute bubbles merged into Wang Tang's body, a scene similar to the one before appeared again. Wang Tang obtained the elementary ice element talent. His body is compatible with the ice element force, so that the free cold particles between the sky and the earth poured into his body. The origin force method Xuanbing Ju began to take effect. A figure sat cross-legged in Wang Tang's mind, and in reality Wang Tang also sat cross-legged, following the operation route of the Xuanbing Ju to guide the original force of ice into the body, traveling all over the limbs and bones. The cold feeling made his whole body tremble. A thin layer of frost formed on the surrounding ground. Wang Tang didn't notice it, and directed the original force of the ice system to merge into the nodes at the end of the spine. Boom! The influx of the ice element origin force aroused the fire element origin force that had just moved in. The two are incompatible. Once they meet, they must fight to the death, and it is absolutely impossible to tolerate the existence of the other party. However, just when the two sides were about to collide in an instant, a mysterious force appeared between the two. Under the action of this force, the original force of ice and fire gradually settled down. The two rotated slowly, and eventually became a circle, maintaining a stable balance point. At the same time, the information belonging to Phantom Ice Fist was successfully integrated into Wang Tang's memory, and another force combat technique was obtained. After a while, Wang Tang let out a long breath and opened his eyes. So close. Ice and fire are incompatible. It almost exploded in my body, it scared my father to death. He had lingering fears, and felt that after returning, he must make up for the relevant knowledge of warriors. Otherwise, if you make some common sense mistakes in the future, you will die without knowing how. Speaking of which, was the power just shot by the big boss of the system? Wang Tang thought about it for a while, but couldn't think of other reasons. The biggest possibility could only be that the big boss of the system took action. After all, he didn't have any mysterious ring on his body, so he couldn't count on the old man running out suddenly to turn the tide. Then the two cried out with tears in their eyes. Liger. Moved heaven and earth, touched you, me and him. Wang Tang stood up, patted the dead leaves on his body, and saw the thin frost forming on the ground around him. He couldn't help being stunned for a moment. The force, it's amazing. He sighed, looked at the corpse of the warrior in front of him, thought for a while. Touch a corpse. I searched the other person's pockets, except for a mobile phone and a steel coin, there was nothing extra. But the purple-black gloves on his hands caught Wang Tang's attention. Nice one. Take it first, go back and study it carefully. Then he ran back to the previous fire element warrior, and also rummaged through his pockets. A piece of fruit 8. A Zippo lighter, good stuff, got it. There was also a pack of flattened cigarettes, which seemed to be of the same kind, and Wang Tang didn't dislike it, so he put it in his pocket. Hey, this sword is not bad. Wang Tang separated the opponent's fingers, looked at the long sword with red runes, and unceremoniously took it as his own. No wonder, if you don't bring it with you when you die, you should make a contribution to society. Wang Tang muttered. After looting all the items on the two warriors, Wang Tang turned around and was about to leave. He had been out for a while, and if he didn't go back, Shujia and the others might come looking for him directly. If they see the situation here, etc., Wang Tang couldn't help frowning. He took away the belongings of the two warriors. If someone came to investigate, wouldn't it be easy to find him? Destroy corpses and wipe out traces. It seems that this is the only way to do it. Wang Tang put the two corpses into a deep pit, activated the original force of the fire element in his body, and a trace of flame burst out from his finger. You created this pit yourself, and now it's just for you to use. Cremation is popular in society nowadays, which is environmentally friendly and does not waste land. How do you read that poem? By the way, turn it into spring mud to protect flowers. It's not too good to be able to contribute to this forest after death. Wang Tang muttered a few words, then looked at the warrior who wanted to kill him before, and said with a complex expression. Although you wanted to kill me before, I didn't die after all, and I accidentally killed you. Those lighters and cigarettes should be used as spiritual compensation. Now I will cremate you for free. After all, I am still a good person. With a flick of the index finger, flames flew out and landed on the corpse. Ignite. The fire was raging. Using the original force as fuel, the fire burned extremely vigorously. After a while, the two corpses turned into ashes, leaving nothing behind. Without the body, no one will know exactly what happened here tonight. Even if someone finds out that Wang Tang came, they will definitely not be able to find out what he took. Perfect. It's time to go back. However, why are these two fighting here at night? Isn't it fun? Wang Tang was a little puzzled. He glanced around, but found nothing. He shook his head, apparently thinking too much. So decided to go back. He took a step forward, but drew back again. Wang Tang looked at the big tree that the fire-type warrior was leaning against just now, and always felt something strange. He walked under the tree and looked up. But being blocked by the leaves, I couldn't see anything clearly, so I could only jump lightly, came to the tree, and glanced slightly. His gaze stopped abruptly. A backpack. Wang Tang jumped over, took the backpack off the branch, and opened the zipper to see that it was full of weeds, and there was an egg wrapped in the weeds. Could it be that they are fighting for this egg? Wang Tang thought while rubbing his chin. But after all, there is no proof of death, so it doesn't make any sense to think about it anymore. This egg belongs to him now. Wang Tang has been gone for more than half an hour, why hasn't he come back? After waiting for too long, those rich second-generation officials and second-generation officials were already impatient, and they all seemed a little dissatisfied. I didn't ask you to wait. If you want to leave, just leave. What are you talking about here? Shu Jia frowned. You can't say that. We are waiting here because we are worried about Wang Tang, but from Wang Tang's point of view, it is unreasonable to ask so many of us to wait for him. If we can't find out, we will come back earlier. Why bother to be brave? Li Rongcheng said. That's right, what kind of high-level warrior? I don't think it's self-proclaimed. A young man said disdainfully. Others wanted to chime in, when suddenly a voice came from the woods. I don't seem to have ever said that I am a high-level warrior, so why did I say that myself? The young man's face suddenly became stiff. Wang Tang glanced at him indifferently, then smiled at everyone. It's really embarrassing to keep everyone waiting for so long. I suddenly forgot. I'm a road idiot. I accidentally lost my way just now. Quote. Everyone fainted. A road idiot who dares to go into the woods alone at night. Check it out, check it out. Li Xiao, talk behind your back, be careful to become a gossip. Wang Tang looked at Li Rongcheng again, and said with a half-smile. Li Rongcheng looked a little guilty, snorted, and turned his face away. Zhou Beiyun didn't really believe Wang Tang's nonsense, so he came over and asked, Young Master Wang, didn't you find anything? No, I circled around a few times and finally found my way back, but I found nothing. Wang Tang shook his head. Zhou Beiyun gave him a meaningful look and said, In that case, let's go back, it's getting late. Everyone naturally has no doubts. Everyone went to the villa to pick up the car, said goodbye and left. I have to mention that Li Rongcheng was the one who caught the most prey. Because Wang Tang left the stage early, Li Rongcheng was slightly better. He really got a so-called mysterious gift, a real doll that Zhou Beiyun brought back from abroad. Female. Li Rongcheng's expression at that time was simply indescribable. 2 cars, Wang Tang and Xu Jia, drove into Donghai City one after the other. At the intersection, when waiting for the red light, Xu Jia lowered the car window and shouted at Wang Tang, Brother Wang Tang, then we will go back first, and Xiao Wei will trouble you to take her home. Go, send a WeChat message when you get home. Wang Tang waved his hand. The two separated at the intersection. Wang Tang sent Bai Wei home, and her family lived in another villa area called Jinhua. There are many rich people in Donghai City, so there are naturally many similar villa areas. Bai Wei stood at the door of a villa, tiptoed, and waved, Brother Wang Tang, go back quickly, pay attention to safety on the road. Then I'm leaving, go to bed early, if you go to bed too late, you'll grow old. Wang Tang smiled and drove away. You're just getting old. Bai Wei pouted. Wang Tang was driving fast on the road. At this moment, he just wanted to go home early, count and study the harvest tonight. The backpack containing the mysterious egg, the sword of the fire warrior, and other scattered items were all hidden in the trunk of the car by Wang Tang in advance. Before that, Wang Tang returned to the villa as quickly as possible, and after finishing the things, he turned back and met with Zhou Beiyun and others. Otherwise, there is no way to explain this sudden extra thing. Fortunately, when breaking through the warrior before, the part scratched by the fire warrior was completely healed, otherwise it would be an unexplainable problem. He changed the blood-stained and damaged clothes, and found something of a similar color to wear. In addition, it was dark, so no one noticed that he had changed clothes. In a hurry, this is the only way to do it. Some statements cannot withstand scrutiny, like Zhou Beiyun probably saw something, but the victory is that there is no basis, and in the end it can only stop at speculation. While driving, Wang Tang recalled all the previous operations, and he was somewhat relieved to be sure that there was no major problem. Eggs. It's like being a thief. Shook his head. There were few cars on the road at night. Wang Tang rested his left elbow on the car window and leaned on his head, while the old driver drove with one hand. The car drove past a commercial street, and the corner of his eye scanned the bustling street scene outside. It was past 10 o'clock, but there were still many people on this street. Playing and laughing. Boys and girls hold hands and stay out at night. Very nice. The lives of ordinary people are actually not bad. Wang Tang thought, and a familiar figure suddenly appeared in his eyes. Chapter 31. Lin Chuhan was very tired after a busy day, her delicate face looked haggard. Her forehead was covered with sweat, making her hair slightly messy. But this can't hide her beauty. Lin Chuhan works part-time in a milk tea shop. That's right, it's the Dian milk tea shop. Her presence undoubtedly adds a touch of color to this milk tea shop. The owner of the milk tea shop often lamented that the original decision was really wise. As long as Lin Chuhan is around, the business of his shop will always be better than usual. It's a pity that Lin Chuhan only comes to work on weekends. Regrettably, the boss is a married person with a shrewd wife, so he doesn't have any thoughts about Lin Chuhan. However, the two male employees in the store coveted Lin Chuhan. They either delivered breakfast or invited lunch every day. They were extremely attentive. The boss saw it and wanted to say something, but he couldn't meddle in the employees' private affairs, so he could only stipulate that they could not fall in love during working hours. The effect is naturally there. But after work, the boss can't control it. At the moment, the employees in the store are packing up their things and getting ready to leave work. A tall, well-proportioned boy walked over and said to Lin Chuhan with a smile, "Chuhan, it's so late, I'll take you back later." The other boy, who looked a little fresh and had his hair permed with tin foil, saw that he was a step behind, and said urgently, "Chuhan, I live just in the same way as you, so let me see you off." A girl laughed and said, "You've got it, your so-called drop-in is at least 10 kilometers away from Chuhan. At least it's closer than Qian Weibo's. His house and Chuhan's house are east and west, at least 20 kilometers away," said the boy with tin foil. The tall boy Qian Weibo frowned, and said with a smile, "I usually exercise at night. I send Chuhan home and then return, which is just enough for today's exercise." TCH, the excuses are very high-sounding. The man with the tinfoil iron sneered. "Okay, stop arguing, I don't need you to send me off, I can go back by myself." Lin Chuhan refused as always, and said coldly. Both of them were very helpless and were rejected every time. In fact, they didn't even know where Lin Chuhan's home was. Lin Chuhan just told them roughly which district they live in. After all, girls have to protect themselves outside, and can't just tell other boys their home address. The two boys wanted to say something more, when a voice rang out. "Beauty, bring me a cup of milk tea." The frivolous and playful voice made Lin Chuhan feel very familiar. "Sorry, we're closing." As soon as Qian Weibo finished speaking, Lin Chuhan turned his head, saw the appearance of the person coming, and said in surprise, "Why you? Look at what you said, why can't it be me?" Wang Tang said with a smile. Listening to the familiar conversation between the two, Qian Weibo and the boy who was hot with tin foil suddenly felt a strong sense of crisis. Moreover, this man is a bit handsome. "Well, just a little bit." Qian Weibo asked, "Chuhan, who is this?" "Chuhan. He. Wang Tang narrowed his eyes slightly, and gave him a meaningful look. "He's my deskmate," Lin Chuhan said. "Deskmate." Qian Weibo and the tinfoil boy stared at each other for a moment. After confirming the eyes, this is a formidable enemy that needs to be fought together. Since it's Xiao Lin's tablemate, let's make the last cup of milk tea. The boss nodded at Wang Tang and said. Qian Weibo asked, "So, this student, what would you like to drink? Is there any fragrance?" Wang Tang said. Qian Weibo. "God is so fragrant. This is a milk tea shop, not a supermarket. If you want to drink Shang Piao Piao, go to the supermarket to buy a cup and soak it yourself." Sand sculpture. Qian Weibo roared inwardly. The boss and other employees of the milk tea shop were also full of black lines, speechless to the extreme. However, Lin Chuhan had already started his hands. The simplest milk tea with black pearls, a large cup, was adjusted in 2s and 3s, and placed in front of Wang Tang with a bang. $12. It's so expensive. Wang Tang didn't care what kind of milk tea it was, complained, and took out his mobile phone to swipe the code to pay. Lin Chuhan ignored Wang Tang. After tidying up, she told the boss and walked out of the milk tea shop. She rolled a pink sheep out of the adjacent parking area. Then put on a Hello Kitty super round helmet and was about to step on the little sheep. "Chuhan, wait for me." Qian Weibo and the boy who was hot with tin foil hurriedly cleaned up, and each pushed an electric car to catch up. The appearance of Wang Tang made the two of them suddenly feel a sense of urgency. Tonight, no matter whether Lin Chuhan refuses or not, they plan to have the cheek to send her home. Lin Chuhan frowned unhappily when he saw the two sticking together like a dog's skin plaster. "Squad leader, I'll see you off." Wang Tang walked over with milk tea. "No need," Lin Chuhan said coldly. "They're all old classmates, why are you being polite to me?" Wang Tang snatched Lin Chuhan's little sheep and picked it up with one hand. "I'll go, this strength." The expressions of Qian Weibo and the two of them suddenly changed. When Wang Tang walked to the sports car parked by the side of the road, their eyes widened even more. There was a drop. The trunk opened, and Wang Tang directly stuffed the little sheep into it. This time, the trunk lid couldn't be closed at all. The pink little sheep is directly half exposed, which is very eye-catching. Confused face. Show. It's so coquettish. It's really unprecedented to install a lamb in a sports car. After this operation, the owner of the milk tea shop, Qian Weibo and others were stunned. Is this the gap? Qian Weibo and the two suddenly had doubts about life. Wang Tang opened the car door and urged Lin Chuhan, who was still standing there. Let's go. What are you still doing? Lin Chuhan bit her lip, stomped her feet, and finally got into the car. Snapped. It seemed to hear the sound of glass breaking. Heart hurts. The two clutched their chests. Wang Tang closed the car door for Lin Chuhan and was about to get in the car when he remembered something and walked up to Qian Weibo and them. You two, are you familiar with my squad leader? He asked with a smile. The two were about to nod their heads when Wang Tang put his hand on their shoulders and gently exerted force. The next moment, the rattle shook. Since I'm not familiar with you, remember to bring your last name when you call her by name in the future. I, Wang Tang. Really small-minded JPG. Wang Tang chuckled and let go of his hands. The faces of Qian Weibo and the others were already flushed. Pain. It feels like my bones are going to be crushed. The strength is astonishing. Is this person a martial arts practitioner? And driving a sports car shows that you are rich. Can't afford it. Can't afford it. Shivering, the two nodded quickly. What, Lin Chuhan? Who is that? Is it beautiful? What does it have to do with me? Nothing matters anymore. Sending this demon away quickly is the most important thing. Wang Tang drove the car roaring into the night. Qian Weibo and the boy with tinfoil hat stared blankly at the rear lights of the sports car. And that little sheep out there. I just feel an unprecedented mockery. Parking. Just as the car drove out of a street, Lin Chuhan suddenly said. Wang Tang didn't stop, turned around and asked, where is your home? I want to get off the car. I don't need you to see me, I'll go back by myself. Lin Chuhan said. It's not good for you to be like this, kill the donkey. Wang Tang laughed. Who killed the donkey? Lin Chuhan felt a little guilty. I just helped you get rid of two troublemakers once and for all, and you are going to kick me away now, what is it? Wang Tang asked back. I want to get out of the car. Lin Chuhan said firmly that Wang Tang couldn't stand him, and he unbuckled his seat belt. If you don't tell me where your home is, I'll drive back to mine. Wang Tang smiled indifferently. Lin Chuhan, she lost in the end. Defeated by Wang Tang's shamelessness, Wang Tang sent her home. The place where Lin Chuhan lived was a private house, and it was hard to imagine that such a place existed in Donghai City. In front of him was a dark alley. When he got here, Lin Chuhan didn't want him to send him off no matter what. In addition, the car couldn't drive in, so Wang Tang had no choice but to give up. He picked up Lin Chuhan's little sheep, and hung the milk tea on the handle of the car. Okay, go back by yourself. Wang Tang said. Your milk tea. Lin Chuhan frowned. If I drink milk tea at night, I won't be able to fall asleep. Wang Tang said. Then you just want me to not be able to sleep. Lin Chuhan said speechlessly. Ha ha ha, you will think of me if you can't sleep. Wang Tang laughed. Get out. Lin Chuhan fled in despair, riding a little sheep into a dark alley. This alley is really long and dark. Even if she turns on the headlights, the distance she can see clearly is very limited. She opened it cautiously. Suddenly, there was a burst of white light behind him. She looked back, and it turned out that Wang Tang turned the front of the car and turned on the headlights, illuminating the whole alley for her. This guy. Lin Chuhan was touched in her heart, but she quickly shook her head and shook her head away, riding the little sheep forward with her head buried. Wang Tang didn't drive away until he could no longer see Lin Chuhan. When I got home, it was already 11 o'clock. Wang Tang couldn't help smiling wryly. He wanted to come back earlier, but he was delayed until this point. Woman. A nuisance in itself. The house was very quiet. Wang Tang closed the door and climbed upstairs. It seemed that Li Xiame had already fallen asleep. Wang Tang didn't make a sound, put the harvest of tonight back in the room, and then took his clothes to take a bath. After showering, blow dry your hair. After locking the door, Wang Tang rubbed his hands, sat on the ground, took out all the things and counted them. A steel coin, a Zippo lighter, half a pack of cigarettes, and 2 mobile phones. These are common items. However, 2 mobile phones. If possible, it is best to be able to crack the code. There must be some information he needs in the phone, including the identities of the 2 dead warriors and so on. In addition, there is a pair of boxing gloves and a sword. Both are rune weapons. Runes are engraved on the gloves and sword, which looks mysterious and extraordinary. Wang Tang looked it up online. The purple-black boxing glove is a 1-star advanced ice-type weapon in the Shadow series, and its market price is around 2 million. The battle sword with the red rune is a 1-star top-level weapon in the Red Flame series, and the price on the market is 3.5 million. This price. Wang Tang just wanted to sigh that warriors are really big dogs. Fortunately, he, the rich second generation, is not ignorant, and he will not make a fuss about these millions. It's just that this time it saves him to go back and forth with weapons. These 2 weapons are enough for him for the time being. Finally, the egg. Wang Tang took it out of his backpack and put it under the lamp to observe carefully. From the surface alone, it is really impossible to tell what kind of animal eggs it is. However, this egg should be the source of the fight between the 2 fighters. If this is the case, then this egg must be unusual. He compared the pictures of various eggs he found on the internet and observed for more than half an hour. In the end, an astonishing conclusion was drawn. This is a poultry egg. Yes, it must be so. Wang Tang nodded to himself, then stuffed the egg back into the bag, covered it with weeds, zipped it up, and hid it in the corner under the bed. Whatever it is, let it go. Wait until we figure out its origin, and then try to find a way to see if it can hatch. Then, Wang Tang turned his attention to the attribute panel. Perception. 83. Spirit. 12.1. Talent. Elementary Fire Element Talent 10 300ths. Elementary Ice Element Talent 12 300ths. Force. 6 100ths Fire 1-star Trooper Level. 4 100ths Ice 1-star Trooper Level. Cultivation Method. Red Flame Dew 1 100th for beginners. Mysterious Ice Dew 1 100th for beginners. Combat Skills. Basic combat skills: fist, sword, knife, subtlety, spearmanship, minor success, fire, Lin swordsmanship 10 100ths for beginners. Phantom Ice Fist 8 100ths for beginners. Knowledge. Basic subjects, full score. Comprehensive combat power 135. Looking at the rows of attributes above, Wang Tang suddenly felt a sense of satisfaction. Musha, he is finally a warrior. Although the time from practicing martial arts to becoming a martial artist is not known to be much shorter than others, but he has experienced a lot. During the period, I experienced a life and death crisis. Wealth are sought in insurance. Worth. Afterwards, Wang Tang compared the difference before and after the property panel changes. He didn't have time to ponder on Bowen Mountain before. Looking at it now, I found that this attribute panel has indeed changed a lot compared to before. First of all, there is an extra spirit. It is not difficult to understand literally. Spirit, or soul, represents the human consciousness, which is a very mysterious term. Most likely, it was activated because of the spiritual attribute obtained from the dead fire warrior. Further down, the original physique disappeared and became talent. Talent. Wang Tang knows that after a warrior's physique reaches the standard, he will go through a special instrument test to determine which department of talent he belongs to, and then choose to practice the corresponding force method and combat skills. This is the biggest difference between warriors and warriors. Wang Tang thought about it carefully and was startled. Speaking of which, I only obtained the fire and ice talents by picking up attribute bubbles. Does that mean that I have no talents? He had checked before that most people would have talents, and as long as their physique met the requirements, they could practice the original force technique. But there are also very few people who have no talent at all. Extremely talented and not talented are two extremes. The probability of occurrence is very small. Unexpectedly, he would be one of them. Fortunately, I have the boss of the system. Wang Tang was very fortunate. He was not afraid of poor talent. He was most afraid of not having talent, which would cut off all possibilities. Just imagine, after working so hard to cultivate, you are suddenly told that you have no talent. How terrible is this kind of blow? Those who are not determined enough may be devastated. Wang Tang shook his head. Then there is original force, which represents the level of the warrior. Wang Tang is now a 1-star soldier level warrior, but he possesses two original forces of ice and fire, which is undoubtedly much stronger than a single-line warrior in terms of quantity. He checked online, and single-line fighters are the most common, while multi-line warriors are very rare. You can still see double types occasionally, basically no 3 types, and as for the following 4 types, 5th types and even 6th types, they haven't even appeared. Cultivation method and combat skill have not changed much, but each has 2 more original force exercises and original force combat skills. The last is combat power. Battle strength should be a combination of various attributes, including physique, strength, speed, original force, combat skills, etc. This is also good, it can reflect the strength most intuitively. After going through everything, Wang Tang yawned involuntarily, feeling drowsy. He closed his eyes and gradually fell asleep. On Monday, the first day after becoming a warrior, Wang Tang just woke up, and he was still in a trance. After a while, a bunch of things that I experienced last night came to my mind. It turns out that I'm already a warrior. Wang Tang clenched his fist, feeling the power hidden in his body, and finally found a sense of reality. A warrior absorbs the force of the original into the body, tempers the body with the force, and causes qualitative changes in the bones and muscles, which cannot be compared with the warrior. However, in the era of martial arts, becoming a warrior is just the starting point. Wang Tang got up and washed, then went downstairs to have breakfast. "Mom, isn't my dad back yet?" At the dining table, Wang Tang stuffed the egg into his mouth and asked Li Xiame strangely. "It is said that there is a project that has not been negotiated, and it will be delayed for a few days," Li Xiame said while drinking bird's nest porridge. Wang Tang nodded. Since it was a company matter, he didn't ask any more questions. After breakfast, Wang Tang drove to Donghai No. 1 Middle School. The college entrance examination is getting closer and closer. The atmosphere in the school is becoming more and more tense every day, and the students study desperately just to fight for a future. It is said that the college entrance examination is a turning point in life. Many people scoffed at it. So what if I had to work so hard to get into a university? After I came out, I still had a miserable salary of 3, 4, 5 or 6,000 a month. Live frugally, save for 10 years, and then think about buying a house or a car. They even bought it with a loan. As for those who earn 100,000 a month and millions a year, they are in the minority after all. Which one of them is not a top student who graduated from a famous brand, a god of learning? How to compare? Just ask, how do you compare? So what kind of knowledge changes fate? Is it to fool people? Wrong. Because, if you don't take the college entrance examination, you will find that you will only get worse. Lin Chuhan came earlier than Wang Tang. In the past, Wang Tang just thought she was very hardworking. But now, knowing that she was still working outside so late, she still woke up earlier to study than many people the next day. He deserves to be a god of learning. If it was the previous life, Wang Tang was still a playboy. At this age, he would only feel disdain for Lin Chuhan's behavior. What's the use of studying so hard? After graduation, the money he has earned all his life may not be able to afford him a supercar. But after experiencing the defeat of the Wang family, he realized that he was completely useless. Without the Wang family, he was nothing. Just don't be too wasteful. Seeing Lin Chuhan immersed in his studies, Wang Tang was very moved. Without disturbing the other party, after sitting down in the seat, took out the mobile phone, and logged into Taobao. He intends to see if there is any special container for weapons. Judging from the characteristics of the system, Wang Tang's future development will only be more comprehensive, and he will learn more and more combat skills. He already has 2 weapons, the sword and the glove, and he will definitely use more weapons in the future. When you can't go out, hang one by one on your body, right? Brushed. Sure enough, Taobao has everything you need, and you can find anything messy. Enter a keyword, and soon a bunch of similar items will appear. However, they were all scabbards, stick sheaths and the like, which could not meet Wang Tang's requirements at all. The morning class is over, and the first class will start soon. Wang Tang was still browsing Taobao and didn't have the slightest thought to attend class. Lin Chuhan couldn't see it, and frowned, but still sighed in his heart, and didn't say anything. Suddenly, a gleam flashed in Wang Teng's eyes, and his gaze stayed on an object. Hidden military box. Looking at the style, it is a long wooden box with a rather retro shape. He read the introduction. This hidden weapon box is actually claimed to be able to hold 14 kinds of weapons. There is also a mechanism on it. When you press it, the required weapon will pop up. So awesome. Then looking down, Wang Teng discovered dumbfoundingly that the so-called 14 kinds of weapons were actually mainly swords, including 14 kinds of different lengths and styles. Buy it or not? Wang Teng hesitated a little. Forget it, I'd better ask the merchant to see if I can order one. This store is called Master Lu, and it is also a flagship store of Golden Crown. The comments below are all unanimously praised. There is no shortage of custom-made items in the comments. So Wang Teng clicked on the chat box and asked the other party. Are you there? Yes, dear. Can you order Tibetan military boxes here? Hidden military box. You do not know. Wait a minute dear, I'll check. Wang Teng was a little speechless. This store doesn't even know what it sells. Is it reliable? After a while, the other party came back. Dear, you there? I did a search for you just now, and it turned out that this is what you were talking about. A photo was attached at the back. The photo shows a wooden box stacked in a corner of a warehouse, with dust gathering on its surface. Wang Teng finally knew why the other party couldn't remember. How many years have you not taken out this thing? He asked suspiciously. Ahahaha, don't pay attention to these details. My grandfather suddenly came up with the inspiration to make this weapon box. Afterwards, no one bought it, so it was piled up in the warehouse. I didn't expect people to ask about it after so many years. The other party laughed awkwardly. Road. May I ask how old this thing is? No more, just 10 years. Hiss. Wang Teng said with a toothache. Okay, then you can ask your grandpa for me if you can make one for me according to my idea. I'm afraid not. ? Why? Wang Teng asked. I don't want to see my grandfather so early. Sorry. Wang Teng felt helpless. Forget about it. He was about to go offline when the other party hurriedly sent another message. Etc. If you can, tell me what you think. I'll see if I can make some changes on the basis of this Tibetan military box. If I can sell it, I think my grandfather Juquanja will be very happy too. Oh, Wang Teng was shocked. Let's treat a dead horse as a living horse, doctor. So he told the other party his request. After a long silence over there, he said, are you going to keep it as a collection? Just take it for granted, Wang Teng said. Okay, I'll try my best and I'll let you know after the revision is complete, the other party said. What about the price? Seeing that the other party was eager to get off the assembly line to study how to modify the Tibetan military box, without even discussing the price, Wang Teng suddenly had a vague idea of this person's character. I'm afraid I'm not a fool. Yeah, I forgot degree. The other side thought for a while and responded. Anyway, no one wants this thing, so you can just give it 80,000 yuan for hard work. Okay, as long as something satisfies me, I'll buy it at a price of 100,000. Wang Teng agreed without hesitation. Those rune weapons are hundreds of thousands or millions in size, and this hidden weapon box is only 100,000, which is not unacceptable. What's more, he has more requirements and can only customize, so the higher cost is justifiable. After finishing the matter of hiding the military box, Wang Teng checked the internet to find out how to hatch eggs. Then a bunch of information pops up. Sand sculpture netizens had all kinds of replies, and Wang Teng found a reliable Onia use an incubator to hatch eggs. But before that, he planned to go to the pet store and ask some questions. This egg is no ordinary egg. Don't let him kill you, it's really blind. For this egg, it cost the lives of 2 warriors. After the second class was over, Wang Teng took advantage of the recess and said to Lin Chuhan, I left beforehand. When the teacher asks you, just say that I have a stomachache and went to the hospital. After finishing speaking, without waiting for Lin Chuhan to respond, he ran out of the classroom without looking back. This guy actually skipped class. Lin Chuhan was anxious, staring at her eyes, but there was nothing she could do. Wang Teng had already disappeared. At the school gate, a few social people who didn't look like good people were squatting on the side of the road, smoking cigarettes, and there were cigarette butts all over the ground. After Wang Tang drove out, he ran into a red light and had to wait at the intersection. The group of social people were attracted by the sports car. Tisk tisk, all the students in Donghai number 1 middle school are so rich. They can afford to drive a supercar. Maid, you still have to drive a sports car to go to school, pretend to be aggressive. A group of people cursed enviously. One of the gangsters saw Wang Tang in the driver's seat, suddenly remembered something, and shouted, "Brother Bao, it's that kid." It's a pity that Wang Tang didn't hear it. The sports car roared and drove away. Seeing the faces passing by in the car, Zhao Gangbao threw the cigarette away, and cursed, "This is really a kid. I finally caught him. What are you doing here? Hurry up and chase after him." While yelling, he rushed to the car parked on the side of the road, started quickly, and chased after Wang Tang. At the same time, a phone call was made. Beep beep. "Hello, brother, I found the kid who beat me last time, and he's heading towards Tongming Road now. Come here quickly, we can't beat him." Zhao Gangbao shouted at the person on the other end of the phone. "Okay, you follow first, I'll come right over." The person on the other end of the phone seemed to sigh. At the same time, the sky above the wilderness was more than 10 kilometers away from Donghai City. The height is 1,000 meters. A huge black crow flew across the sky. Its length was more than 20 meters, and its feathers had a cold metallic luster, like a fighter plane, and its whole body was full of danger. Its eyes were blood red, and it seemed to have a faint killing intent. The target is directly at Donghai City. Boom! During the flight, the speed of the giant crow suddenly increased, and the air exploded like a black line, heading straight for the East China Sea. On Tongming Road, in a pet shop called Mau Mau, Wang Tang asked the staff of the pet shop some common knowledge about hatching, and felt that he finally had a clue in his heart. He thanks the pretty, but crucially helpful lady at the pet shop, and walks out of the shop. Come out, come out." Zhao Gangbao pointed at Wang Tang and said to a man beside him. Sudden, crazy, a cry that pierced the sky resounded. The man's face changed and he suddenly looked up. At the same time, Wang Tang raised his head solemnly and looked into the distance. High in the sky, a huge black creature approached quickly from a distance, and at the same time, an extremely ear-piercing cry suddenly sounded. Hey! The sound exploded in the sky, more pitched and ear-piercing, with astonishing penetrating power. Wang Tang felt pain in his eardrums, and passers-by on the road frowned and covered their ears one after another. Crack, 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 there was a sound of shattering glass. Ha! Wang Tang's expression changed. The terrifying sound waves actually produced invisible shock waves, which spread around. Cracks suddenly appeared on the glass windows and doors of the shops on both sides of the street, and finally exploded. Snapped. Shards of glass flew towards nearby passers-by. The lady in the pet shop had just sent Wang Tang to the door when the glass door suddenly shattered, and a piece of broken glass the size of a palm fell straight from above her head. Wang Tang has quick eyes and quick hands, and quickly pulled her away. At the same time, his whole body was shaken, and his vigor exploded, shaking away all the flying glass shards. Pedestrians on the road dodged left and right, and some were hit and scratched. Seriously, sharp shards of glass were directly inserted into the body, and he fell to the ground and wailed endlessly. Some were lucky enough to escape, and quickly hid far away, with lingering fear in their hearts. Where did the birds come from? How did you come to the city? Call 120 quickly. Someone is injured. What a scary bird, it must be a star beast. Wang Tang looked up. The bird was getting bigger and bigger, approaching quickly from a distance. No, it's coming this way. Wang Tang was startled, his face was ugly, and he said to the girl next to him, "Go to the store quickly, don't come out." As he said that, he hurried to the side of the road, took out the battle sword from the trunk, put on the gloves, and rushed to the side shop with the backpack containing the eggs on his back. Crazy. The giant crow seemed to sense something, and its speed skyrocketed again, rushing towards this side even faster, and its chirping burst out. What's going on? Is this bird going to attack our Donghai city? The crowd fled in all directions, covering their ears and screaming in horror. The giant crow came to the sky above Donghai city in a blink of an eye, its wings stretched out, covering the sky, and the wind howled when it flapped its wings. It shot straight down from the sky. Eggy, why does this bird seem to be coming towards me? Wang Tang felt as if dark clouds were overwhelming his head, and when he looked up, he met a pair of huge blood-red pupils. Boundless evil spirit hit the heart. Wang Tang was shocked, his whole body was so stiff that he couldn't move. What to do? What to do? Why are you rushing at me for all the shit? Hurry up, correcta. He suddenly bit the tip of his tongue. The pain came to his mind, and Wang Tang finally regained control of his body. The original force was stimulated and covered the battle sword. Unlucky. However, even if you die, I will let you take off your skin. The red light on the battle sword was strong, and the original force of the fire element was brewing to the extreme. Wang Tang's hands were sweaty, and his eyes were fixed on the giant crow. When it reaches the attack range, this sword will be cut out. Naughty animal. Presumptuous. At this time, a loud shout suddenly sounded. I saw a cyan knife light spreading from the top of a building, cutting towards the giant crow in midair. Crazy. Wails sounded. Laugh. The light of the knife slashed, and the blood spattered. The light of the knife spread all the way to the sky, dividing the clouds in the sky into two halves. The huge bird carcass fell from the sky. Everything happened in an instant. Everyone was stunned, staring blankly at the sky, their minds went blank. So strong. The man beside Zhao Gangbao lost his eyesight and muttered to himself. Wang Tang held the battle sword tightly in both hands, and his back was covered with cold sweat. The sword hadn't had time to be released. His head didn't turn the corner for a while, and now his face was full of confusion. Buffalo. A batch of cows. Wang Tang took a deep breath, calmed the beating heart in his chest, and sighed. That ray of sword light across the sky really opened his eyes. This is the real warrior. People cut hundreds of meters with one knife, compared. Remember yourself, it's so weak. Wang Tang quickly adjusted his bewildered expression. I've got my poses set up, you fix this one for me. How embarrassing. Fortunately, everyone's attention was attracted by the giant crow just now. And under the panic, everyone was busy looking for a place to hide, and no one noticed him at all. Wang Tang quickly put away his sword and gloves, and stuffed the backpack with the eggs into the car. Then, as if nothing had happened, he looked at the place where the huge bird fell. Not far, just tens of meters away. A huge bird lay dead in the middle of the intersection, several cars parked on the side of the road were smashed, and sirens kept sounding. 2 or 3 street lamp poles fell down, and electric sparks crackled. Passers-by hid far away, but took out their mobile phones one after another, and did not forget to take pictures and send them to Moments and Douyin. It's scary how big this crow is. That was the martial artist shot just now. It must be. Only warriors can deal with this terrifying giant beast. That knife crossed the sky, which shocked the entire East China Sea. If only I had such a strong strength. Everyone was talking about it, and they both admired and envied the warrior who had cut the sky-shattering sword light. Musha, this is the warrior, in the era of martial arts, who doesn't want to become a martial artist? But is it useful to think about it? There are still so many people blocked by invisible walls, not even qualified to step forward. Even the senior warriors who have already stood by the door are no exception. For example, the man next to Zhao Gangbao is like this. At this time, Wang Tang looked at the body of the giant crow, suddenly a little dazed. Killing a star beast will also drop attribute bubbles. In front of the giant crow, there are several large transparent bubbles floating impressively. Others can't see it, but in Wang Tang's eyes, it is particularly conspicuous. He hurriedly squeezed the crowd away, pretending to be curious, and moved closer to touch a few attribute bubbles without any trace. Pick up. Speed 130. Fire Force 35. Blank Attribute 60. Eye of Spiritual Vision 1. Fog grass. Fog grass. Fog grass. Say important things 3 times. This attribute must go to heaven. Wang Tang suddenly felt a little floating. The 3 mist plants are not enough to express the emotions that are stirring in his heart at this time. Speed 130. It's really a bit much to get 130 points of speed attribute at once. Fire Elemental Force 35 integrate into the body, causing the fire elemental force in his body to directly skyrocket and surge endlessly. It just doesn't feel so good. Then look down. Blank Attribute 60. He was a little surprised. There is still a blank attribute. What's the use of this? Could it be possible to add points arbitrarily? Wang Tang decided to go back and study it carefully. The last time the system was refreshed, it seemed that many changes had been made one after another. At last, Eye of Spiritual Vision 1. Wang Tang felt that some kind of wonderful change had taken place in the eyes, and there was a cold air flowing in the eyes. Now if you give him a mirror, Wang Tang will see that his eyes seem to be covered with a black film, showing a dark color. So amazing. However, what is the function of this eye of vision? He looked around, but didn't find anything special about these eyes. Forget it, now is not the time to delve into it. So, how to put it away? Wang Tang thought about it, and the strange power in his eyes seemed to have received the command, sneaked into the depths of his eyes, and hibernated. After a while, a group of people arrived. The crowd was evacuated and the scene was cordoned off. It's a member of the mode department. The person who came was dressed in black, with a special symbol on the costume, crossed swords, and behind it was a simple shield as the background. Someone recognized them immediately. The mode department, as you can tell from the name, is a special department specially established to protect human cities. Except for civilian workers, the rest of the internal personnel must have not weak force. And it is precisely because of the existence of such a group of people that ordinary people can live in the city safely. Many times, they have solved a lot of troubles without the masses knowing. The staff of the mode department loaded the giant crow into a large truck and cleared the road. He also asked the passers-by around to learn about the situation at that time, and seemed to want to find out why the giant crow suddenly invaded Donghai City. It's a pity that everyone was talking about it, but all they talked about was the situation of the powerful mysterious warrior, without any substantive information. In the end, the staff of the mode department had no choice but to leave. Wang Tang was standing among the crowd, looking thoughtfully at their retreating figures. That giant crow really seems to be coming towards me. But why? What kind of enmity do I have with it, as for killing it from the wilderness thousands of miles away? Wang Tang also didn't think of a reason, so he had to give up. At this time, the beautiful young lady from the pet shop saw that the situation outside had calmed down, so she trotted towards Wang Tang. On the other side, Zhao Gangbao also said to the man beside him when he saw the people from the city protection department leave. "Brother, the people from the city guard department have left. Let's hurry up and catch that kid, otherwise he will run away. Today I must avenge my last kick." As he said that, he remembered the incident of being kicked away at the Rose Bar, and the fact that he was tricked and caught the wrong person last time, so he was very happy. Suddenly, an evil fire rushed straight to the top of his head. Zhao Gangbao was about to walk towards Wang Tang angrily. Snapped. However, unexpectedly, the man beside Zhao Gangbao suddenly slapped him on the head. Scratch, grab, 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 grab. Zhao Gang was so angry that he cursed loudly. Zhao Gangbao was completely dumbfounded. He looked at his brother foolishly, and said, "Brother, how can you scold our mother? I'm so confused by you." Zhao Ganghu slapped Zhao Gangbao on the head again. "Hit me again, what are you so angry about?" Zhao Gangbao asked inexplicably, with his head shrunk, his face full of grievances. "I'm mad at you for being an idiot. You deserve it. Do you know who you are messing with? If you want to die, don't drag me. Is there anyone like you?" Seeing that Zhao Gangbao didn't even know where he was wrong, Zhao Ganghu was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. Born by the same mother, why is my younger brother so stupid? So, he raised his hand, wanting to slap again. Zhao Gangbao was already on guard against his move, quickly dodged, and shouted, "Brother, even if you die, you have to let me understand. What's going on? You should explain clearly." "Okay, I'll tell you." Zhao Ganghu took a deep breath and said, "That man, he is a warrior." "What?" Zhao Gangbao was taken aback, but he didn't believe it at all. "Impossible, he looks so old, how could he be a warrior?" "You do not believe." Zhao Ganghu sneered and said, "You know the shit, you don't believe it. Do you know what I just saw? The force. That's the force. When the giant crow swooped down, he inspired the original force, and I could see it clearly. If you tell me you don't believe me, am I blind?" Zhao Ganghu's stern words echoed in his ears, and Zhao Gangbao was completely dumbfounded. Original force, warrior. That kid turned out to be a warrior. However, the last time I saw him, his strength was not that strong. He was at most equivalent to a middle-level and high-level martial artist. How could he be a martial artist? Zhao Gangbao couldn't believe it no matter what. This only shows that he is hiding and doesn't want to reveal his true strength. Zhao Ganghu guessed. Hiding strength. Zhao Gangbao was startled and asked in confusion, then what purpose does he have? This is beyond what we can know, but think about it for yourself. If you repeatedly provoke a warrior, what will be the consequences? Zhao Ganghu stared at him with hatred. Hiss. Zhao Gangbao gasped as he thought about it. Brother, I provoked him once, he won't kill me. He couldn't help shivering at the thought of a certain consequence. That's hard to say, but after all, it's a hidden danger. Well, now you come with me, apologize to him, see if you can get his forgiveness, and expose this matter completely. Zhao Ganghu said after a moment of thought. Zhao Gangbao was hesitant, a little afraid to face Wang Tang directly. But seeing that Zhao Ganghu was about to explode again, and thinking about the consequences, he gritted his teeth and said, okay, I'll go and apologize right away. When the two Zhao Gangbao brothers were thinking about the terrible consequences of their affair with Wang Tang, the beauty from the pet shop ran in front of Wang Tang. Hello, thank you just now. The beauty in the pet shop looked up at Wang Tang shyly and said, you're welcome, it's just a little effort, but I still want to thank you for answering so many questions for me. I searched many pet stores, and only then did I find you, a person who knows something about birds. Wang Tang said with a smile. Then let's add a WeChat account. If you have any questions, you can also ask me directly through WeChat in the future. The beauty of the pet shop said proactively. Wang Tang didn't have this kind of treatment before. Sure enough, saving the beauty by a hero is the nirvana for picking up girls. Buddha, add WeChat. Am I the kind of person who casually adds girls on WeChat? Okay, add a WeChat, and I will trouble you more if you have any questions in the future. Wang Tang quickly took out his phone. Added WeChat, the two also exchanged names, and changed the notes. Lu Zhiqing, the beauty of the pet shop, said, the pet shop is very busy today, I have to go back first, and I will contact you on WeChat in the future. Good. Lu Zhiqing smiled and waved, and ran into the pet shop. When Zhao Ganghu saw that Wang Tang had finished dating the girl, he carefully brought his worthless younger brother over. Sir, please wait a moment. Wang Tang turned his head, first glanced at Zhao Ganghu, but he didn't recognize him, and then he saw Zhao Gangbao behind him. It is you. The half-smile expression and the meaningful tone made Zhao Gangbao's whole heart lift. Zhao Ganghu's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly pushed Zhao Gangbao. Big brother. Zhao Gangbao stammered. Wang Tang lit a cigarette, and suddenly said, I haven't been a big brother for many years. What the hell? Zhao Gangbao was stunned. Zhao Ganghu laughed dryly, and said, this gentleman is joking, my name is Zhao Ganghu, and I am this fool's brother. Before, my incompetent younger brother was blind to Mount Tai and offended Mr. Today, I specially brought him here to apologize to you. Then he shouted at Zhao Gangbao, hurry up and get over here, and apologize to this gentleman. Zhao Gangbao was about to bow and apologize, but was stopped by Wang Tang. Wait a minute, I'm afraid you didn't come here to apologize today. You just followed me all the way, do you think I'm Wang Tang stupid? Wang Tang sneered. Zhao Ganghu's expression changed. Zhao Gangbao shuddered even more, oh my god, it was exposed. Mr. Wang. Boom. Wang Tang didn't give him a chance to speak, and the aura of a warrior erupted, pressing towards Zhao Ganghu and the others. It was just deceiving him just now. Although he knew that someone was following him, he didn't know the purpose of the other party. Now look at Zhao Ganghu's expression. It was obvious that they came to seek revenge just now, but something happened in the middle, which made them change their minds, and came over honestly to apologize. Could it be that he used the original force just now and was spotted? Thinking in his heart, Wang Tang stared at Zhao Ganghu and Zhao Ganghu coldly. Now that it's delivered to your door, let's get rid of it, so as not to be missed all the time. Even if he is not afraid at all now, there are always ants crawling around in front of him, and anyone will feel upset. Zhao Ganghu faced the pressure of the warriors and could only hold on, his heart was shocked. It really is a warrior. Zhao Gangbao's face was pale, and he fell limp to the ground, unable to even get up. Momentum. It sounds mysterious, but it is actually just a kind of pressure exerted by the strong on the weak. Wang Tang versus Zhao Ganghu is like a warrior versus a martial apprentice. Great disparity in strength. The gap is in front of you. Hence the pressure. We are willing to pay compensation. Zhao Ganghu gritted his teeth with cold sweat on his forehead and said with difficulty. Compensation. Wang Tang grinned. This card has 5 million in it, so it is right to make amends. Zhao Ganghu took out a bank card and said. 5 million. The amount is indeed not small. An ordinary person may not be able to save 1 million in a lifetime, but this is a full 5 million. However, Wang Tang is a rich second generation. He smiled lightly and said, do I seem to be short of 5 million people? Zhao Ganghu's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that the matter was not so easy to solve. He forgot that there was a rich man in front of him. Can people who drive supercars lose money? He was full of bitterness, and wished he could kill Zhao Gangbao on the spot, so that he would have to provoke such a evil star. Give me a day, and I will give you a satisfactory answer tomorrow. Zhao Ganghu was also decisive. Seeing that 5 million could not handle the matter, he immediately gave up and made a promise. Okay, I'll wait for your news tomorrow. Wang Tang nodded. He was not worried about the other party running away. Donghai City is neither too small nor too big. If you really want to find someone, it's actually not difficult. Unless Zhao Ganghu is willing to abandon everything in the East China Sea and go to other cities, there will always be a day. Wang Tang believed that he would not be so stupid. Seeing Zhao Ganghu leaving with Zhao Gangbao in his arms, Wang Tang shook his head involuntarily. Although this Zhao Ganghu is only a high-level martial artist and is a bit older, he is still a character, but his younger brother. That's really mud that can't support the wall. Tiger brother and leopard brother. The elder brother is a tiger, but the younger brother may not be a leopard. Wang Tang left Tongming Road where the pet shop was located, and went to the place introduced by Lu Zhiqing to buy an egg incubator. Preferably oversized. That egg pretty much filled the mountaineering backpack. Egg. Bird eggs. Wang Tang was shocked suddenly. He patted his forehead. How could he be so stupid? He didn't think of this until now. Isn't this the mother crow looking for her cub? I'll go. What kind of grudges did I say? I insist on killing me. It turns out that I have become a child trafficker. Wang Tang thought silently. However, with the strength of those two fighters, how did they steal the child from that terrifying giant crow under the nose? Probably did not use any special method, but stole it while the giant crow was out looking for food. Forget it, it's useless to think about it. Wang Tang shook his head, suddenly a little rejoiced. Fortunately, the mysterious warrior made the move. Otherwise, this would be an endless hatred. Even if I didn't steal the egg, it's in my hands now. If the giant crow doesn't come at me, who else can it go at? Wait a minute, did the martial artist slash that blade? Did any attribute bubbles remain? That's the attribute bubble of the strong. The attribute bubble of the giant crow has already given him a taste of the sweetness. If the mysterious strong man falls, wouldn't it be even more awesome? Wang Tang quickly turned the front of the car and galloped towards the building where the source of the sword light was located according to his memory. We must catch up. The car shuttled quickly on the road, and he kept praying in his heart. Finally the car stopped in front of a commercial building. It should be here. Wang Tang got out of the car and closed the door with a bang, and he had already rushed out. Sir, who are you looking for? Do you have an appointment? Just as the beauty at the front desk asked, Wang Tang had already run past her and arrived at the elevator door. Sir, this is a private company, outsiders are not allowed to break in. Quick, quick, stop him. Several security personnel heard the shout from the front desk and quickly surrounded Wang Tang. Drip. The elevator arrived. Stop. The security guard yelled. It's a fool to stop. Wang Tang rushed directly into the elevator and frantically pressed the close button. The elevator door closed slowly, and the security personnel finally took a step too late and watched him disappear before his eyes. They can only catch up from another elevator. But this time difference is enough. Wang Tang climbed directly to the roof of the building, glanced across the empty roof, and saw a bubble that was about to disappear. So far so good. Wang Tang hurried over. However, just as he was about to pick it up, the bubble disappeared. Question mark. Wang Tang stayed where he was, and the smile on his face froze. Disappeared. It's still gone. My heart suddenly hurts. Wang Tang clutched his chest. This kind of pain would cost at least 1 billion yuan. Too cruel. God, why are you so cruel to me? Well. Wang Tang sighed, walked to the edge of the roof, lit a cigarette, and stood in a mess in the wind, melancholy and melancholy. At this time, the security personnel came up panting. As soon as he went up to the rooftop, he saw Wang Tang standing on the edge, looking unlovable. The words that I wanted to question just now reached my lips, and I swallowed them again. Little brother, if you have something to say, can you come down first? A middle-aged security guard tried to soften his voice and said. You don't understand, I just lost 1 billion yuan. Wang Tang sighed, and the expression on his face became even more melancholy. 1 billion, I'm afraid this guy is bragging, right? Don't make a sound, it will irritate him, and you will be responsible if you really jump down later. Several security guards looked at each other and completed the silent communication. The middle-aged security guard continued, isn't it just 1 billion? You are so young, and you can earn it back in the future. Maybe by then, it will be 2 billion or 3 billion. The current 1 billion is nothing. What? This middle-aged security guard opened his mouth with billions of dollars, and people who didn't know thought he was Jack Ma Wang with 100 million. Wang Tang also looked at him in surprise. You said it so easily, I almost thought it was Ming Bi. The middle-aged security guard couldn't help laughing. Forget it, I'm lucky to lose my life. Wang Tang sighed again. Seeing him put down, several security guards breathed a sigh of relief, but who knew that Wang Tang would actually jump in the next moment. Goodbye everyone. Several security guards stretched out their hands and yelled, just like the moment Kang wanted to catch Sui. Don't. Some people even couldn't bear to close their eyes. But the tragedy did not happen. The middle-aged security guard chased after Wang Tang when he jumped up. He is a high-level warrior, but he is middle-aged and has no chance to go further. He can only barely make a living as the head of security in this company. He is faster than other security guards. When you get to the roof, look down. His eyes widened suddenly. I saw Wang Tang lightly landed on the air conditioner outside the wall, and then jumped down layer by layer. Seeing the middle-aged security guard poking his head out, he didn't forget to wave to him. Now, it was the turn of the middle-aged security guard standing on the edge of the roof, messed up in the wind. This little brother, it's not easy. Wang Tang left the business building regretfully, went to buy an egg incubator, and then returned to school. It is already noon. Everyone went to the cafeteria to eat. Before he came back, he sent a WeChat message to Xu Jia and the others, so they also left a copy for him. After lunch, there is about 2 hours of lunch break. However, during the review stage of the third year of high school, many students only rested for an hour, and then began to do exercises and memorize texts again. While Lin Chuhan was reviewing, Wang Tang was not at all sleepy, studying the attribute panel beside him. Perception, 83. Spirit, 12.1. Talent, Primary Fire Talent 10 300ths, Primary Ice Talent 12 300ths, Spiritual Vision Primary 1/10. Force, 41 100ths Fire 1-star Trooper Level. 4 100ths Ice 1-star Trooper Level. Cultivation Method. Red Flame Ju 1 100th for beginners, Mysterious Ice Ju 1 100th for beginners. Combat Skills. Basic combat skills: Fist, Sword, Knife, Subtlety, Spearmanship, Minor Success, Fire Lin Swordsmanship 10 100ths for beginners, Phantom Ice Fist 8 100ths for beginners. Knowledge. Basic subjects, full score. Comprehensive combat power, 182. Blank attribute, 60. The original force of the fire element suddenly rose to 41 points, and Wang Tang could feel that the original force of the fire element in the pronucleus in his body had begun to take shape. The pronucleus is the node at the end of the spine, which stores the original force, hence the name. At the same time, Wang Tang's overall combat power increased to 182 points due to the increase in speed and fire element force. This represents an increase in strength. Wang Tang checked, and humans also have a set of methods for evaluating combat power. The combat power of a Star Warrior class is probably between 100 to 300. From 1-star to 9-star soldiers, each level is divided into 4 stages: elementary, intermediate, high, and top. 100 to 180 combat power is elementary level, 180 to 230 is middle level, 230 to 280 is high level, and 280 to 300 is top level. If the combat power rating of the system is equal to that of humans, then a combat power of 182 points is already the strength of a 1-star mid-level soldier. Wang Tang looked at the extra column at the end, blank attribute, 60. He rubbed his chin, hesitating how to use this blank attribute. His eyes scanned the property panel from top to bottom. Come on, one by one, try them all. So Wang Tang first added a blank attribute to Savvy, and the Savvy of 83 points jumped a bit, becoming 83.1. Ratio: 10:1. Wang Tang nodded secretly. Further down, a little bit was added to Spirit, which also increased the spiritual attribute by 0.1. Obviously, this is also an exchange ratio of 10:1. Then there are the Fire and Ice talents, add a little to each, and each of these two kinds of talents has a little more. Ratio: 1:1. When it came to Spiritual Vision talent, Wang Tang thought it was the same, but he didn't expect to add a little blank attribute. Spiritual Vision talent only increased by 0.1, another 10:1. Could it be that the Spiritual Vision talent is more advanced? Wang Tang couldn't help guessing. He continued to experiment and found that the original force behind, and even the exercises and combat skills, were all in a ratio of 1:1. But when it comes to battle power, it is impossible to add points directly. It seems that the combat power can only be improved indirectly through other attributes. Wang Tang was thoughtful. After some experiments, 11 points of blank attributes were spent, leaving 49 points. Wang Tang thought for a while, and directly added 20 points to the original force of the fire element, and the remaining 29 points were added to the Fire Lin swordsmanship. Knowledge is not as good as specialization. In the case of limited blank attributes, of course, only one of the attributes can be improved as soon as possible. Perception: 83.1. Spirit: 12.2. Talent: Primary Fire talent 11/300, Primary Ice talent 13/300, Spiritual Vision Primary 1.110. Original Force: 62/100, Fire 1-star Trooper level. 5/100 Ice 1-star Trooper level. Cultivation Method: Red Flame Ju Entry 2/100, Mysterious Ice Ju Entry 2/100. Combat Skills: Basic Combat Skills: Fist, Sword, Knife, Subtlety, Spearmanship, Minor Success, Fire Lin Swordsmanship 40/100 for beginners, Phantom Ice Fist 9/100 for beginners. Knowledge: Basic Subjects, Full Score. Comprehensive Combat Power 191. Blank Attribute 0. He looked at the changes in the property panel and nodded in satisfaction. Blank attribute is a good thing, just add more. Wang Tang couldn't help sighing. But he also knew that it might not be so easy to harvest so many blank attributes at once in the future. The strength of that giant crow is terrifying, so it will drop more attributes. This kind of thing is rare. If it wasn't for the mysterious warrior, he wouldn't even be able to save his life, let alone pick up attributes. It's better not to think about the good thing about the pie in the sky. Shaking his head, Wang Tang quickly straightened his mind. Afternoon. The first class is the class of Fan Weiming, the head teacher. He walked into the classroom and said seriously, "Students, the college entrance examination is about to take place in 2 weeks. You must hurry up and review, but you must also pay attention to rest, adjust your schedule, and don't get sick. Your parents will cook more delicious food for you to supplement your nutrition." In addition, the Education Bureau just issued a notice that this year there have been some changes in the martial arts major's college entrance examination. All the students in the class looked at him. When Wang Tang heard this, he suddenly regained his energy. The college entrance examination will be reformed every year. I don't know what changes will happen this year. And it is also a martial arts professional college entrance examination. Fan Weiming said under the eager eyes of everyone. This year, the martial arts major will expand its enrollment, and intermediate martial arts apprentices are also eligible to take the martial arts major college entrance examination. Enrollment expansion. This is real. Intermediate warriors can also participate, so I also have the opportunity to take the martial arts major. Many students became excited, especially those who had reached the intermediate level of martial arts, dancing happily. As for the low-level warriors, they were all downcast. There are only 5 high-level warriors in Donghai No. 1 middle school, but there are many low-level warriors and intermediate warriors. This is undoubtedly great news for those intermediate warriors. The college entrance examination is a turning point. After being admitted to the martial arts major and enjoying more resources, you will have the opportunity to become a martial artist in the future. In the past, many of them couldn't even reach the level of advanced warriors before the age of 20, and they couldn't pass the martial arts major, let alone warriors. Now that the martial arts major has expanded its enrollment, it means that their opportunity has come. How can you not be excited? Okay, calm down first, wait for me to finish speaking. Fan Weiming clapped his hands. Everyone gradually quieted down and looked at Fan Weiming. Fan Weiming said, "If there are students in our class who want to apply for the martial arts major, within this week, remember to come to my office to register. The Academic Affairs Office will count the number and report it to the Education Bureau. Only when you register, you will be issued the admission ticket for the martial arts exam. Without the admission ticket, you will not be able to take the martial arts professional college entrance examination. You must remember it well," he said, paused, and spoke again. "However, you must make it clear to your parents that the martial arts major's college entrance examination includes an actual combat assessment, which has certain risks. Now that the internet is developed, you may all know that there is danger, but you probably have no idea how dangerous it is. Let me tell you this, the actual combat assessment actually has a rated death rate. If the death rate does not exceed this rate, the higher-ups will not pay too much attention to it. In other words, if you die, you will die. So students who are not sure, don't take chances, and would rather repeat the study for a year before taking the exam. Okay, let's stop here, get ready, and start class." After Fan Weiming finished speaking, he gave the students a little time to digest. Sure enough, the students below immediately began to discuss in a low voice. "There is still a death rate. I always thought that at most it would be injured. I asked a senior, and he said that there were no deaths in the martial arts major's college entrance examination in the past 2 years. Could it be that he lied to me? Not necessarily, it seems that there have been no deaths in the past 2 years, but what about going forward? So you have to check it out after you go back. If there is really a death rate, you really have to think about it carefully." Some students frowned, and the previous joy was washed away a lot. If you want to take the martial arts college entrance examination, you have to pick up the 5-year martial arts examination and 3-year simulation. How can it be enough time in just over 2 weeks? Someone exclaimed suddenly. That's right, I didn't read the 5-year martial arts examination and 3-year simulation, how can I take this test? It's too bad, why didn't you notify me earlier? The atmosphere was immediately distorted. Just now they were still wary of the death rate, but now everyone was stumped by the 5-year martial arts examination and 3-year simulation. Wang Tang shook his head. It turned out that he wanted to expand the enrollment, so it had nothing to do with him. Anyway, his strength is fully capable of handling the college entrance examination. Wang Tang turned his head suddenly, and found that Lin Chuhan's mood seemed a little wrong. There was light in her eyes, but her face was full of hesitation and apprehension. Couldn't squad leader Lin be an intermediate martial artist? Wang Tang thought of a possibility, so he couldn't help asking her, "Why, you also want to take the martial arts college entrance examination?" Hearing Wang Tang's tone, Lin Chuhan felt that she was underestimated, and stared, "Is it not possible?" "That's not true, it's just that I always thought you would follow the development path of liberal arts," Wang Tang said innocently. "After all, this is the era of martial arts. It is foreseeable that the role of martial arts will only increase in the future, and its impact on society will also become deeper and deeper. The change of the college entrance examination this time is obviously a signal, so even if I take liberal arts, martial arts will also be more important. I don't want to fall." Lin Chuhan analyzed. "What you said makes sense." Wang Tang nodded. "You should also take the martial arts college entrance examination." Lin Chuhan gave Wang Tang a meaningful look. Judging from his usual performance, even if he was not sure, he still had 8 or 9 guesses in his heart. Wang Tang just smiled. Lin Chuhan didn't delve into it, but actually already had the answer in his heart. No wonder he usually doesn't pay much attention to liberal arts. However, the martial arts test also has requirements for liberal arts, especially the 5-year military test and 3-year simulation, as almost a must-read. Can he be sure? She still had some doubts, but when she thought of 5-year martial arts examination and 3-year simulation, she subconsciously frowned again. What do you think the Education Bureau is thinking? Why did it announce this news at the end of the day? Many intermediate warriors in the 5-year martial arts examination and 3-year simulation have no special research at all, and there is no hope for the exam. How could I know this? The big brothers always have a clearer mind. Wang Tang shook his head. At this time, a boy in front suddenly turned his head and said, "Hey, I heard it's related to the policy of the Global Federation." The policy of the Global Federation. Wang Tang and Lin Chuhan couldn't help but glance at each other, which involved a little bit more. "Yang Jian, how do you know about this?" Wang Tang asked the boy. Yang Jian also intended to show off in front of Lin Chuhan, turned around directly, and said proudly, "My uncle works in the Education Bureau. I got the news from him a month ago, and I have been reading 5 years of martial arts recently. 3-year simulation exam. Dog relationship." Wang Tang couldn't help but scolded with a smile. In fact, Wang Shengguo also heard some rumors, but he thought that Wang Tang had just started practicing martial arts, and there was definitely no hope for this year, so he didn't tell him the news. Lin Chuhan was a little helpless and powerless. This is the gap between ordinary students and people like Yang Jian. They received the news a month ago, but I didn't know until the notification came. The news was too late. No matter what era, information is always the most valuable. Yang Jian didn't take it seriously, and smiled at Wang Tang. "Young Master Wang, let's stop talking about the second brother." Then he saw Lin Chuhan's face again, and knew the reason, so he quickly comforted her. "Squad leader, don't worry too much. Since the higher authorities have notified you so late, they must know about the situation of the students. I also heard that the difficulty and grades of liberal arts exams will be lowered this year, and it may hit a record low." Wang Tang smiled at Lin Chuhan immediately. "You have heard it all, so the hope is quite high, so don't put on a face. Besides, with the melon seeds of your learning god, the mere 5-year martial arts examination and 3-year simulation is not something you can grab at your fingertips." Lin Chuhan gave Wang Tang a blank look, and then said to Yang Jian, "Thank you for telling me this." You're welcome, even if I don't tell you, you will know soon. Since this matter has been announced, some news will definitely not be hidden from anyone." Yang Jian waved his hand. "Okay, students, the 10 minutes of discussion time is over. If I continue, I won't have to take this class." Fan Weiming tapped on the blackboard. The students immediately sat upright. The majesty of the old class was no joke. Throughout the afternoon, everyone was immersed in the news announced by the old class, and a big discussion started after class. Someone went to the next class to check and found that all the students without exception were talking about it. Some students have already called home while get out of class is over, asking their parents to help find out inside information and ask for their opinions. The martial arts test is the most important. Many parents don't even go to work, and when they receive a call from their children, they are busy asking for news. The 4 aunts and the 8 aunts, all available networks, have been mobilized. In a family, a child who has a college entrance examination will always become the focus of everyone's attention. 3 classes in the afternoon are over, and I go home after school. Wang Tang looked at Lin Chuhan, who was packing his school bag beside him, and said, "Squad leader, do you want me to take you back?" "No need," Lin Chuhan said quickly. "I was afraid that it was too late, and I was forced to get into the car again. I always felt that this guy was plotting against me recently, and he didn't seem to be restrained like before." "Whatever." Wang Tang didn't care. He got up and was about to leave. He thought about it and said again, "Since you want to take the martial arts exam, it's best not to go to work for the remaining 2 weeks. Time is really tight. Hurry up and review the 5-year martial arts examination and 3-year simulation. If you have any difficulties, sit at the same table. Forgot to look for me." After finishing speaking, he left the classroom without giving her a chance to refute. In an instant, Lin Chuhan felt a warm current flow through his heart, then shook his head and cursed. "This guy, tease me again." Wang Tang, Xu Jia, and Bai Wei met at the school gate. They already knew about the expansion of enrollment. Even Bai Wei and Yu Hao, 2 sophomores in high school, were no exception. Bai Wei and Yu Hao were a little excited. After all, they still have a year to go. Intermediate warriors are much easier than high-level warriors, and they have a great chance. Especially Bai Wei, even if she has never practiced martial arts, as long as the Bai family provides her with more resources, it is not impossible to reach the intermediate martial arts in a year. Xu Jia was a little dejected. The expansion of martial arts exams is cruel to those who think they have no chance and refuse to practice martial arts. Even for Xu Jia, it would be difficult for advanced warriors to practice martial arts, but is there no hope for intermediate warriors? It's a pity that there is no regret medicine in the world. Opportunities are always for those who are prepared. This year he is doomed to miss it. Wang Tang thought for a while. Xu Jia, maybe you can choose to repeat the study for another year, and go back and discuss it with your parents. Yes, we have been persuading him to repeat his studies just now. Yu Hao said in agreement. Brother Wang Tang, do you also think I should repeat it? Xu Jia raised his head and said. It's not what I think, but whether you think about it or not, Wang Tang said. Then I'll go back and ask my parents first. Xu Jia hesitated and said. Wang Tang didn't say anything more. How to choose, after all, he can only see himself. Through the recent experience, Wang Tang clearly knows that martial arts are not easy to go. Do you want to practice martial arts? Is practicing martial arts right or wrong? Do you regret it later? No one can give Xu Jia the answer. Only by going through it himself can he judge the so-called right or wrong, and whether he regrets it or not. Xu Jia and the others felt a little depressed because of the martial arts college entrance examination. Bai Wei quickly changed the subject and said, do you know? Today Zhou Beiyun sent someone to Baoan Mountain to check again. Oh, what did they find? Wang Tang asked calmly. This situation was as early as he expected. Smart people are always curious, and Zhou Beiyun is the kind of person who thinks he is smart. She didn't get an answer last night, and she will definitely go to find out again. I heard from Wu Yuan that they found traces of a battle in a forest. Judging by the power, it might be a fight between warriors. Bai Wei said. Musha, Xu Jia and Yu Hao were shocked. There are scorched marks on the scene, and some plants that were frozen to death, which should have been destroyed by the force of the original force. Bai Wei nodded. It's actually a martial artist. Fortunately, Brother Wang Tang, you didn't find it last night, otherwise it would be dangerous. Xu Jia said. Wang Tang nodded. By the way, who is Wu Yuan? Yu Hao suddenly asked Bai Wei suspiciously. It's just a girl I met in the villa yesterday. She is very gossipy, well-informed, and has a broken mouth. She sent me a WeChat message when she found out about it. Bai Wei couldn't help laughing. Did she say anything else? Wang Tang asked. She also said that not long after Zhou Beiyun arrived, people from the City Protection Department also came, but they didn't seem to find anything. The 2 fighters probably left after fighting. Bai Wei said. Wang Tang was thoughtful. It seemed that Bai Wei only knew some superficial news, and she probably didn't know much about it. After chatting for a few words, they separated at the school gate and went home separately. When Wang Tang returned home, he found that there were several strangers in the house. And Wang Shengguo has also returned from a business trip and is talking with those people. City guard, I didn't expect to come to the door so soon. Wang Tang's heart moved, and he walked into the hall of the villa without any change on his face, and asked, Dad, you are back, who are these? Wang Shengguo nodded, and said with a slight frown, they are the staff of the city guards department. They came here to ask you a few questions. Didn't your kid get into some trouble again? Wang Tang immediately called Ku and said, how can I? Recently, I'm either practicing martial arts honestly and taking classes, or I'm just having a party with my friends. What kind of trouble can I cause? Don't worry, Mr. Wang, we're just having a routine questioning. A young man waved his hand, then stood up and said to Wang Tang, is that right? That's right, I'm Chai Yu, the captain of the 3rd team of the Moat department. I came here today to ask you about what happened in Baoan Mountain last night. The young man said. Oh, so it's for this matter, no problem, you can ask, I will tell you what I know. Wang Tang said with a dazed look. Next, Chai Yu asked a few questions, and Wang Tang answered them one by one according to the rhetoric he had planned, so that they could not find any questions. Especially on the issue of road idiots, Wang Shengguo even said jokingly beside him, "I'm not afraid of your jokes, this kid has never recognized his way since he was a child. Fortunately, he has a navigation now, otherwise I am really afraid that he will suddenly lose it one day. Okay, thank you for your cooperation, I'm sorry to disturb you today." Chai Yu didn't get anything, so he got up and left. As soon as the people from the city guard department left, Wang Shengguo nodded Wang Tang's head with his finger. Wang Tang laughed and said, "Dad, you cooperated well. Stop talking." Wang Shengguo glared, "Be honest with me from today on, and stop causing trouble." Wang Tang didn't say what was going on, but Wang Shengguo warned him, but he didn't go into details. Li Xiame put the food on the table and greeted the father and son for dinner. Chai Yu was sitting in the car, and the staff driving next to him asked, "Brother Chai, how much is true and how much is not true of what this kid said?" "Hard to say." Chai Yu frowned. "Judging from the tests on the scene, the fighters who fought should have died, and there must have been a third party at the scene. And from Li Chengrong's confession, it can be seen that Wang Tang's strength is not weak, probably reaching the level of a high-level warrior. But it's simply impossible for a high-level warrior to kill two warriors. So it shouldn't have much to do with him. At most, he saw the scene of the fight and was afraid to tell the truth." The driving staff guessed, "Is it possible that the two fighters died together, and then he took advantage of it? You must have read too many novels. Why didn't I encounter such a good thing?" Chai Yu rolled his eyes. "Hey, Brother Chai, you don't know, this kind of plot is popular in novels now, it's so cool to watch." The staff laughed. "Hurry up and drive your car." Chai Yu cursed with a smile, and couldn't help but sigh. "Hey, Li Rongcheng and this Wang Tang are high-level warriors, and they are hopeful warriors in the future. The Li family and the Wang family are not ordinary families, so it's not easy to go too far. Moreover, the items of the two warriors are gone, and the mobile phones are gone. We don't know their identities at all, and there is no place to check them. This matter is probably going to become an unsolved case." "That's right, since the connection with the other world, the disappearance and death of warriors has become difficult to count," the staff also said with emotion. After dinner, Wang Tang took the backpack containing the eggs back to the bedroom while his parents were not paying attention. "Take out the eggs, put them on the incubator, turn on the switch, and let the incubator hatch slowly." He was lying on the bed with his hands on his head. After being stunned for a while, he suddenly jumped up from the bed and brought a mirror. Facing the mirror, his eyes inspired the talent of spiritual vision, and then he saw that there seemed to be a black film covering the pupils. "It looks like you're wearing colored contact lenses. Huh, there's a little red light in the depths. My mother, why do you think it looks a bit like a crow's eyes?" Wang Tang took a closer look, and was suddenly a little depressed. "It won't really turn into crow's eyes, right? Sigh, I don't know what kind of ability this spiritual vision talent is." Wang Tang sighed, his eyes swept across the room, and when he saw the eggs on the incubator, he paused suddenly. This Isa, with the spiritual vision talent turned on, the egg was red all over, like a burning flame. Fire element force. Is this the function of spiritual vision talent? Can see the original force. Wang Tang's brain was wide open, and he guessed. That giant crow was able to find Donghai, and finally locked onto me, perhaps because of this innate ability. This talent comes from the giant crow. Compared with it, my talent is only a weakened version, and it needs to be developed in the future. However, this talent is really good. Through these eyes, you can see the original force, and thus judge the strength of other warriors. Wang Tang pondered. He was delighted to see Lai Xin, and studied for a long time, until his eyes felt a little sore and his head was a little dizzy, so he had to put away the spiritual vision talent. "What's going on? I feel dizzy. Could it be?" Wang Tang was a little surprised. He called out the attribute panel and saw the spirit column above, followed by the words excessive consumption. The spiritual vision talent actually consumes energy. In this way, it cannot be used unscrupulously. After Wang Tang rested for a while, the groggy feeling in his head gradually disappeared. At present, I only know that spiritual vision talent can see the original force. I don't know if there are other abilities. Wang Teng thought about it for a while, and decided to pay more attention to it in the future. This spiritual vision talent has great potential and must be focused on. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.